Gashman says that the church stopped chapel gatherings a few days before the governor issued her first order on social distancing. Meanwhile, the governor over the weekend extended the public health emergency through May 5th, and until then, government agencies and businesses are to remain closed, and at the same time, people are told to stay home. This has resulted in the Department of Education calling off classes for the remainder of the school year. Superintendent John Fernandez informed board members of a decision yesterday. Fernandez says this will not impact the grab-and-go meals, which will continue through May 28th, which was the actual end of the school year. More news after this.
Subway's got fresh choices for this Lenten season. Sink your teeth into the savory goodness of our shrimp and guacamole spinach wrap. Or go green with our delicious Veggie Max, a delicious vegetarian patty, free of artificial colors and flavors. Don't forget the classics like the tuna or seafood sensation subs, all made with freshly sliced vegetables, prepared daily in every restaurant. Visit any of our convenient locations today. Subway, make it what you want.
There is a water outage affecting residents of Agate. That outage, there is a main break, according to the Guam Waterworks Authority. That outage has resulted in the village being without water. They have not said where exactly is being affected. Water is expected to be restored in about 8 to 10 hours. Delegate Mike St. Nicholas on Monday proposed the use of $10 million in anticipated advance war claim payment reimbursements from the federal government to get COVID-19 pandemic economic relief to the hands of Guam residents immediately. Senators, however, would still need to reappropriate the use of the $10 million once the government of Guam receives it. As of Monday, there was no indication that senators would heed St. Nicholas's recommendation, as they've not been called into session to address COVID-19 related matters. St. Nicholas says GovGuam should be able to receive the $10 million war claim payment reimbursements from the U.S. Treasury in about 2 weeks, citing his communication with the U.S. Treasury. But he said GovGuam does not need to wait for the actual receipt of the money to start working on the expedited relief for residents. Governor Lilian Guerrero, in a press briefing yesterday, said that the $10 million in war claim payment reimbursements cannot be used for COVID-19 relief. Guam and other territories are part of the COVID-19 $2 trillion federal stimulus package, but the much-needed help is not reaching the island residents fast enough, so St. Nicholas offered a public option and a private option. He says proposals would need to either proposals would need either the Guam Retirement Fund or private banks to front the relief assistance payments. Applicants would then have to assign their federal assistance payments to either GovGuam or the banks, similar to the Advanced War Claim Payments program. Under St. Nicholas's proposed public option, GovGuam Retirement Fund through the Guam Economic Development Authority would use its capital pool to front the payment of economic relief. Residents would be required to assign their economic relief assistance payment from the federal government to GIDA. The private option is for the banks to provide COVID-19 economic relief loans, similar to the tax refund loans they offered to Guam residents. Senators would need to pass legislation, though, to authorize banks to participate in the program. Meanwhile, Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes, who was part of video conference with the congressman yesterday, said that she will reach out to GovGuam's retirement fund and to banks to get their input on the delegates' proposals. And those are your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is Ray with your weather.
I can see Joe T already biting through a piece of 2x4, you know? Joe T.
Don't touch my fund.
Yeah, exactly. That's what another round
and
of
that's what he's
Raiders
supposed to
of
do.
the retirement
That's what
fund.
he's supposed to do.
Yes,
He's supposed
exactly.
to defend that.
Exactly.
Tooth
So
and nail.
partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. Winds out of the east, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs today should be about 88 degrees. Partly cloudy and isolated showers tonight. Winds out of the east, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Overnight low should be about 77. Daytime highs 88 degrees. Sunrise this morning now, and sunset tonight will be at 6:33 this evening. So I think a bunch of people yesterday, outstanding work finding new and different places to go and watch the sunset and drink beer at the same time, out of the watchful gaze of the Eye of Sauron. Is that? That's what we're going to be getting. I'm sorry. That was one of my shows on. That was one of my quarantine shows. Was the third episode of The Lord of the Rings, right? And it's got that big Eye of Sauron looking for the ring, and Frodo, and what's his name? I'm sorry. It's where my head's at this morning. 6:13 in the morning. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific. Banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
As we stand up to coronavirus by standing back with social distancing, Bank Pacific reminds you that you can come to the bank without going to the bank. Use many of our other delivery platforms like online banking at bankpacific.com, accessing cash at our ATMs, shopping with our debit cards. For businesses, we have secure cash and check drop windows, and we are employing a new smarter mobile app with remote deposit capture in the next few weeks. We're all in this together, and together we will win. Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, we place roots. Member FDIC.
Day. This is Congressman Nicholas. The federal government is making $7 million in small business disaster loans available for small businesses impacted by the coronavirus. If you would like more information, please contact our office at 671-475-6453 or our local Small Business Administration office at 671-472-7419. You can also email our office at michael.sanicholas@mail.house.gov. God bless you and God bless Guam.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Visit Orkin.com and the World Wide Web, and or give them a call this morning, 646-7546, to help you kill the bugs in the house. Local pest control expertise and global coverage. Portions of the program also being brought to you by, you said Wendy's, right? That's the new copy I got this morning? All right, here it comes. New copy, Hafaday Guam, stay home and keep safe. And if you need to be out, Wendy's is ready to serve you with affordable meals and drinks. Drive-through only, the real deal for value and variety is at Wendy's.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
What the? There's nothing in here about bacon fried rice. I don't see anything in here about the Caesar with the spicy chicken that goes on top of that, or the Baconator. Where's an opportunity for me to talk about maybe, did you think they got mad at me because I spent too much time talking about their sweet teas, right?
I think they were counting on your imagination to come through.
Fine, I can do that. 888-825-5888-TALK. That's the telephone number here at the radio station. It's 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray. And baby sister Montesilva Tyron will hit you with the news all morning long from the guys over at the Guam Daily Post. And this came in just a few minutes before the start of the show. The village of Agate has a water outage. And there's not too much by way of information on this. It says GWA announces an emergency water outage April 7th, 2020, starting immediately until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Crew making mainline repairs. Village, Agate. Areas affected? Village of Agate. So like the whole
Agate
thing.
is a very big village.
Yeah, there's plenty of room in the place. Do you have the number 64? Call them up 646-4211 and just find out if there's any more specific locations that they can tell you about. You know, is it involve every top to the bottom? Is it up and down from the sea all the way up to Agate Heights? I don't know. I just. So I'm just kind of curious about that. 888, anyway, you get the telephone. Real Joe gets the phone when you call at 888-8255. I get the WhatsApps at 988-5874. That's 988-5874. And I'm looking at one of them right now because it's got Jay Rojas's name on it. And he says, you say bacon fried rice? And then he sent me a picture of bacon fried rice. Good job, Jay.
Did you cook that for yourself on your birthday?
Or did you just leave the house early and went and found a Wendy's and said the guys?
He is quite the chef.
Oh yeah,
he's
I've
a
heard.
very good chef.
So why hasn't he brought any to us, his friends over here at the radio station? Oh, he's in Hawaii.
Yes, he is.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so it's tricky for him to.
Yeah, but he can go to Lynn's and send us some crack seed.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be 6:17.
We'll take those.
6:17 in the morning. Anyway, a bunch of stuff on the table of contents, and we'll get around to eventually doing it, and some very, very strange things floating around in the social media yesterday. I'd be happy to talk on that, but I've got to take care of these guys, these social media influencers first.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Ohayou gozaimasu. Japanese way of saying good morning, 6:18, and we say good morning to James Howard's going, boom, first place, yeah, boom. Now, I don't know if he was first place before. I I messed up something when I was getting things set up this morning. I'd messed up the placement of a certain part of the screen. It's inside baseball, but I had to restart after I started the system already. So it's possible some of you were already on and maybe even got first place, but then got kicked out. And for that, I'd like to blame the governor's office and the legislature. Had the legislature gone into some kind of session, I'm sure that kind of embarrassing faux pas might have been avoided. But you know how they are. In fact, the Guam Daily Post writing their editorial this morning about how disheartening it is that the legislature hasn't leapt into action to save all of us. And the only time they seem to want to get together is when the governor says, jump. And then they go, yes, how high should we jump? Should be 10 feet high, all of us, or just the Democrats? How do you want to do this? Anyway, so James Howard going, oh, yeah, first place, boom, Ismael Velez is online saying redo. Okay, you caught that. Jerry Leon Guerrero saying good morning. Bob Ellsworth is there. Melinda St. Nicholas McMullen is sending us greetings. Hoffaday from Port Orchard, Washington. As I've said many times, generally, if you want to find some of the best-looking women in the United States of America, you would have to go up to Port Orchard. They're just it's just beauty queens just all over the place. It just you kind of shoo them away because there's so many. Melinda, it's always good to see you there. Who else is playing around? Mark Mendiola is online. P.E. Chamberlain says, thank you for keeping us informed. May God bless and keep you all safe. Missed the island. And then there's USAF says, Lady Vet. Among our favorite kind. Sabine Chargaloff says, morning, yawn, back at work. Stay safe, everybody. Be happy to stay safe. Sabine, how's the grandkid? How's the Sabine, you might recall, is one of those Navy moms. She got a grandson aboard the Teddy Roosevelt. Actually, I don't think on the Teddy Roosevelt anymore. He might be staying in comfortable surroundings over at the Dusatani Hotel down in Tumon. Marla Carbonzito says, buenas. Who else? Marilu Berseman is online. John Ray Taitano. Tattoo Shauna Fujikawa Stickles is there. So is Anne-Marie Sablon Trousseau. Dwayne Santos. Dwayne, you know, every time I see your name, whether it's on Facebook Live or whether I'm just cruising social media, I just get kind of worried about you. Have you found something yet? I know that there were some issues with your hours, and I'm kind of curious as to what your situation is like. And do proposals like the kind that was floated around by Mike St. Nicholas yesterday. Does that give you any kind of hope that there might be something coming in your direction before all of this, the floodgate of the federal relief begins to open up for the territories? Alfredo Mendoza is online. Vicky Ganashis Borja. Josephine Blas is there. I see Jose Tampalado, one of the funniest guys that we've got going today. Still got work today. Good. I'm glad to see that there are still some people out there that are gainfully employed. I ran into more than one or two yesterday. Lee Stolley says front gate is open at Naval Base Guam. That is a big deal. They've been construction.
It's been open.
Has it?
Yeah, you can't exit through the front gate.
You cannot exit through the front gate, but you can only go in through the front gate.
Yes.
So how do you? So what? Like once you're on,
but you can
you
go
have to stay.
You can go in the back gate and you can go out the back gate.
Okay, but
yeah, there was.
But only going in the front gate.
Yeah, you can only go in. The exit is blocked off.
Okay. Is that?
Oh, actually, I'm wrong. Yesterday it was open. The exit was open.
Okay, so both directions now.
Both
We
directions.
can go in both directions coming out of the gate. One of the and I was wrong yesterday. I didn't realize it until I'd left the radio station and I pulled into to Benson because I needed to get some stuff, essentials only. I needed to get essentials for my quarantine day, and I pulled into Benson and they were closed.
That
and
essential sandpaper.
The essential. It's toilet paper. I'm a tough guy, but I.
Well, you know that as part of, I think the executive order did indicate that DIY projects and home construction could continue. So if that's part of something that you are already engaged in.
Yeah, well, they closed. So I had to go somewhere else. I'll tell you the story later. Charles Danko's online. CJ Bam is there. Jess Mendiola. Andrew Camacho says GovGuam employees who stay at home are susceptible to bed sores and deserve a 75% differential. You know what, Andy? I appreciate you. This is the great thing about this community that we have here. So many people not self-centered. They're thinking about other people, thinking about some of those government of Guam employees. Are just go from the bed to the couch and the bed to the couch, and every once in a while that stop into the kitchen. I'm sure that there are many of them that are otherwise working, productive, gainfully employed, and in the service of the people of Guam. But for those that are holding the couch down, maybe you're making a good point. Maybe they do need to have some kind of differential there. Jerome McDonald says, good afternoon from Southern California, Orange County, half a day. And how are y'all doing back in Guam? Be safe, be careful, and don't do the things that I used to do. Sorry about that, Jerome. Hi, have we met? All of the things that you used to do when you left Guam, they gave to me. All those responsibilities are now mine to see through. So I appreciate you thinking about us all the way in where were you? Southern California, out in Orange County. Let's go to Disneyland. What's that got to be like? Because they shut down Disneyland like a month ago, right? So what's going on? And that part of Anaheim, Orange County, it's not. They don't make oranges there anymore. I think that's from a long time ago they did, but I don't know if anything besides avocados grows down in that part of the country. So I'm kind of curious, Jerome, what is the state of your economy? If it was largely driven by tourism coming in for Disneyland, what else is going on there? Now there is the possibility, and I'll say this because every once in a while, and you know this, I will just start saying things on the radio like they're fact, like the only thing that happens in Orange County is the tourism industry. There could be some incredible manufacturing going on. There could be a Boeing plant or something. I don't know, but I'm just saying. Seems to me that the last time I was there, a lot of the economy had to do with Disneyland. So. And tourism. So let me know if there's anything going on. James Adkins is there. Who else is playing around? Listening. CJ in the Cheesehead State. In the coronavirus 19 years every state is the Cheesehead State. I got Big Sister Shelley, Ken Leon Guerrero. That's the other Governor Leon Guerrero is online. Keena McCausland up in Vancouver, Washington. Jeff Pleadwell and Sherry Iriarte, which that was number 6, in the last round. Sorry about that, Sherry. I'll get it right tomorrow. James Howard, I want to thank Ismail and all the little people who made this possible. Is today Gloat Tuesday? For those of you that aren't paying attention, I put it up on today's theme for the program is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. I put that out there for all of you who've just completely lost track. And I'd be one of them. The only reason why there's any kind of, I've got any kind of semblance of where we are on the calendar is because we just had a weekend. And Saturday and Sunday I can sleep in. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday I can't. Oh, programming note. We're not going to be here on Friday. What? It's Good Friday.
Oh, that's
it's also
right.
Okay. So should I have said it's Tuesday in April? Should I have done that? It's Holy Week. Is that registering for anybody?
I can't believe I missed that.
Anthony Bennett's online. Dennis Benzer, Deanna Palmer, Joey and Pinko, and so many more. How about what's that? How about Jim Moylan and his stance for the people? That is something to remember. He keeps doing right by the people. Sadly, his colleagues aren't following suit. You got to remember that the poor guy's surrounded by jugheads there. Andrew James A. says, first time chiming in for me. Good morning, Ray, Mana, and especially to the real Joe Cruz. Bob and Connie Bartonico is online. P.E. Chamberlain says, hi, y'all, from Tennessee. All right, good to know that's where the yak is coming from. So do you want to talk about it? The thing? Let's talk. Wait, Jim, which thing? Rooster. No, because I'll more on that in a second. Remind me, I want to talk about the theories that I was throwing around yesterday. My buddy Keith Parsky is up online, so take care of everybody. Carl T.C. Gutierrez is online. And Carl,
Bring back the sunshine.
Bring back the sunshine. Our wartime governor. There's all kinds of people saying that. God, I wish Carl Gutierrez was the governor of Guam. Wouldn't it be great if Carl Gutierrez, because he was our disaster gov. If something bad happened on Guam, it was governor jump out from the governor's house. He'd go and pull people out of the wreckage of the plane crash and then rebuild the island after the typhoons. Just go from one thing to the other. And there's a lot of people. But the other thing is a lot of people are also very concerned. It's as much as we want you back there and at some kind of a helm here, we're also very concerned because you're not a spring chicken no more, and we all recognize.
I beg to differ.
Well, he's in
I've
that.
seen him.
He's in that age group.
I've seen him, and the guy doesn't age.
Yeah, well, I didn't say age. I'm just,
No,
do you think
he is
that
a spring chicken?
he'd just be able to 1-2 punch coronavirus and then we'd be done with it, and everybody'd say, "What'd you do?" And we just said, "Brought Carl back." That's all we need to do.
He's our equivalent to Chuck Norris.
Nita Moffness is online, and baby sister Montesilva Tyron's online to make sure that nobody talks trash about me on my own Facebook Live. Anyway, 6:27 in the morning. So this is where my head is at. And considering how little partying I'm doing these days, it's amazing that my brain bent in this direction. But I was going through some pictures yesterday on the phone, and I don't know. I was kind of fixated around the end of 2019, what we are now referred to as the good old days, and so I was fixated about the end of 2019, and there was some strange stuff floating around, and I wonder if there is a connection now between the coronavirus that we are all suffering from, that we in this entire community are all freaked out about, the worldwide community. And I'm wondering, is it possible that the coronavirus or some other kind of bad juju flew in on that? Remember, there was pictures. I was talking about this the other day. That shooting star over that happened over the island. Is it possible it brought some kind of space virus along with it? And that's why we're having such a hard time with this, because it is an unholy virus, not of this planet. And that's why we're having problems, with people that don't have any kind of resistance to it, because it's something that came to us from space.
It's aliens.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a movie, I'll remember it in a minute, that talked basically about that, about some kind of virus coming in from space and threatening to kill off humanity. And then the other thing is, you remember towards the end of the year, we also had that eclipse that everybody went up to the place over at the Sheraton and watched the eclipse. You weren't there. What? Is it possible? Is it possible?
What
Maybe
are
there's
you
some
smoking?
weird. I'm
Give
not
us some
smoking
of that.
anything now, but I because I'm trying to find an explanation for all of this, because all of the other ones don't match. Lynn Gabriel sent me a thing this morning, and I might play some of it. And it starts off with this guy, and he's got an accent, right? All of the really good coronavirus, weird theories have got a guy with either a British accent or it's a British accent, but he's from Hong Kong, right? One of those Singapore Chinese guys. So,
Yes.
and so he starts talking about the coronavirus, and in the background there's footage from CBS of people standing in lines, and there's armed guards making sure that nobody jumps the queue and all of this other stuff. And then he starts talking about the cause of the virus, and it is not a regular medical virus. It's coming to us because of, are you ready for it now? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
5G telephone technology.
Oh, I saw that.
Right? You saw that thing?
Yes.
How much of that did you watch after he unveiled that it was coming from RF technology?
Once I realized the direction it was going, I was like, I am not
Oh,
going
okay.
to.
And the
No.
thing will go for another 30 minutes. The
Yeah.
thing is like a 30-minute piece.
I would say about 3 minutes in, I realized what I was watching, and I'm like, no,
Okay,
I can't do
So
this.
that's the thing, guys. Do me a favor. I love that you were sharing all of this stuff on the internet. I love that that's what social media has become, is now
But
a dumping
please
ground.
don't believe it.
Well, number one, don't believe it, and number two, unless it's about 2.5 minutes long, don't send it to me. I am one of those guys. Even as much time as I've got because of the quarantining and the isolation and stuff, I still don't have time to listen to or watch a half hour worth of crap. So vet it. Make sure that it goes through somebody like James. Even if like James Howard would look at that in the first couple of minutes and go, "Oh yeah, that one's kind of dumb." Of all of the conspiracy theories out there, it's kind of dumb. Do you remember when they 6:31? By the way, if you're watching the clock, do you remember when they first came out with those radio read meters? When GPA first came out with those, and there were all kinds of people around that started freaking out because they were worried that it was sending a signal that was frying their brains.
Tinfoil hats.
Yeah, and I'm here to tell you, after conducting a number of phone-in interviews with some of those people, my recollection, some of you already had a problem, and something had already fried your brain, and this is it's a new symptom of it. So I don't know. Like I said, we're all trying to figure out what we can attach to the coronavirus to make it proportional to the worldwide panic that it has garnered, and we're all trying to figure out something that makes a little bit more sense than a bat had it and somebody ate the bat and now we're all sick. Right? I mean, that just it sounds it's like the Kennedy conspiracy. How is it possible that the president could have been taken down by just one guy? Had to be more. We're trying to make come up with a reason that fits the size of all of this. And I think maybe the thing about 5G phones and maybe it rode in on a comet. Who knows? Maybe that will help some people through their daily quarantine. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my day. 6:32. And how did you spend your day yesterday? And I find myself in an odd position because now I have to agree with the governor of Guam, Lulian Guerrero, and in her thing yesterday, the 10 o'clock update that they send out. For whatever reason, I don't know. But anyway, she was talking about, people aren't following the social distancing guidelines. People aren't self-quarantining. And I heard that as I was jetting my way up to Dededo. And traffic from Route 16, let me just put it this way, from about where Happy Mart is all the way up to Waisang Song, there's no indication that there is coronavirus ongoing. None whatsoever, except there's people with face masks on. That's it. That's the only thing that's different. Otherwise, it looks just like any ordinary Monday on Guam would have looked because there's everybody in the world that cannot stay home. And I say this fully recognizing that I'm one of them.
Well, come to find out that I think people were starting to scramble around because they were under the impression that we're under a curfew.
You know what? There's that. That's the thing about the shifting sands that we were talking about is there's so much change going on. People don't have any idea where they are. Conversations yesterday about, well, you better get home because there's going to be a curfew. No, there's no curfew yet. Yes, I heard there's a curfew. And I'm going, I'm in the media. There's no curfew.
Right.
There's no curfew out right now. If you want to, you can self-curfew, but nothing from the governor's office and no way to enforce it. So where are we? 6:34. Let's take a look at some headlines here, and we'll come back and goof off with some more of the list and whatever else is on my table of contents. Now with news from the Guam Daily Post, here's Monta Silva Tyron.
The Department of Academic economic relief in the hands of Guam residents. This to be backed by the retirement fund and local banks. The legislature would need to authorize a proposal. They have not said if and when they'll go into session. And those are your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. You can log on to their website for more details at postguam.com.
So the governor's already said no on that.
Yeah, she said she
non-starter.
You can't use the COVID-19 for anything else.
Right. Okay. But no on the on the rating of the retirement fund as well.
As far as I know.
6:35 in the morning. All right, and that's iConnect time. iConnectGuam.com on the World Wide Web. You got information that you need about your mobile internet or push-to-talk plan. That's where to go.
One of the easiest ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Let this message help you time it. Start soaping up now. The virus can survive in the air for 3 hours, on copper for 4 hours, on cardboard for 24 hours, and on plastic and stainless steel for 72 hours. Disinfect phones and common household surfaces like tables, doorknobs, light switches, countertops, toilets, faucets, and sinks, desks, including computer keyboards and kids' toys. Choice Broadcasting reminds you to stay safe and stay clean. You can rinse now.
Subway, one nearby you that is open and ready for takeout. You know they have breakfast over at Subway, did you? Maybe not. All right, so there's something, if you're hungry right now, don't feel like cooking, go swing by there. Maybe a little bit later on, that foot-long BMT on 9-grain honey oat. Yes, with, you can still get them to squirt a little bit of vinegar in there. I just wanted to say vinegar. You know what I want? You know what else I'm going to say? I'm going to say crunchy mango with soy sauce and Donny pepper and big chunks of salt. Right? That's what I got yesterday. I'm going to put that up on the screen and make everybody salivate. While I'm talking about Subway, make it what you want. It's at 6:37. The program's also being brought to you by American President Line's global presence with a local home.
Everyone has a busy schedule these days, and sometimes we forget to schedule our routine dental checkup and cleaning. Don't neglect your dental health. Schedule one today with Dr. Robert Yang and his Smile Team, conveniently located at the East West Business Center on Marine Drive, Upper Tumon. Call us today at 647-8702 or 3. Again, that's 647-8702 or 647-8703. We make smiles happen.
I don't want to do the traffic gizmo. I'm trying to send something up on the Facebook. where's that picture that I took yesterday of, there it is. Hold on. No, this takes precedent over everything else, including the format of the program. Boris Hertzlitz's online. I got Richard Leon. There's Kenny Williams, Terry Pablo, Mallory, Rie Tezuka Regis is online. I see Annette Ada Vasquez. And James Howard says, speaking of Comet, Google Comet Atlas to be in our northern skies May 23rd, 24th on Guam. Look up up. You will be amazed. A little bit later on, Real Joe Cruz is going to tell you everything that he knows about the supermoon that's supposed to be coming up this week. I got Pat and Norma Jean Flores, Chung Lee, Jim Healy is online. Jim, did you really do that to your hair? Everybody, look up Jim Healy on Facebook and take a look at what he did with his hair. He apparently wants to guarantee social distancing, so he's cut on one side of his head. It's bald over here. And hair over here. On the other side, he's got beard over here, but bald over there.
This is why you need to do the haircut before you start drinking.
By the way, yesterday was Do Your Own Haircut Day. There's
I did my own hair on Sunday.
There's an actual day for such a thing. All right, 888-825-5888-TALK. And Real Joe's going, are you going to get around to doing the traffic? I will get around to doing the traffic in my own sweet time. But in the first thing I got to do, Monica calls me up yesterday, and she says, are you home? And this is a good thing because, she knows I'm a bachelor. It's always good to call before you come home.
Are you home?
Are you at home? Yeah, where the hell else am I supposed to be? Are you an agent for the governor checking on me? And she says,
what if I am?
Are we done? And so she says, I've got mangoes for you. So you got hooked up with Dave and Tin.
Yeah.
And they gave you...
they gave me a bag full of mangoes.
Mangoes,
I
not
split it up.
mangoes.
I didn't wash it. I hope you washed it.
You know what? I did, and it usually goes against my instincts to wash the mangoes because they're up on the tree, where God put them, and they're fairly clean up there. And I bit into one. I was expecting it to be a little bit older. I thought maybe it might be a little bit tough on the inside, and I cracked the world on this one, and it was able to bite it right through to the ivory white seed that was on the inside. So the whole thing was crunchy. It was hard, crunchy, and sour all by itself.
That's making me drool.
So I do a thing that some people will just salt and dunny on this, but I like to put together a concoction that I refer to as Jesus juice because you go, wow, Jesus, that's good.
What?
So and it's basic. It's just salt and soy sauce and a couple of dashes of Tabasco. And that's all you got to do is just dip it in there back and forth. And for those of you that maybe you can't find any hard green mangoes right now, there's no point to living.
What is that, rock salt?
They're big granules. It looks like rock salt, but it's not. So anyway, that was my snack yesterday, and it'll be my snack for later on today. So go out and find. Do we know where Tintin got that?
One of her coworkers picked it.
There's over on Camp. Is it Camp Watkins? No, over on across from the church, next to one of the stores. They got those two stores back to back, Managov Mart, and then there's another one. There's a house with a tree that's got mangoes on it. But I would.
There's also one by the Indian temple.
But the thing, the thing is, the guy that owns that house says he's got a sign up there that says he'll shoot you and they'll make you go to jail.
Don't go to that tree. Go to the one at the Indian
temple. Yeah, but I
saw
saw that sign and I want to now.
Also at Laddystone Park, there's some mango trees there, and they're huge.
See, this is the important thing. Is everybody's up to speed on what's going on with coronavirus, right? So yesterday, one of the other things that the governor was saying was, the numbers are skyrocketing. We've got to get ready for a surge, and so they conducted 13 tests and only got one hit yesterday. They only got one hit yesterday, and so it's one of those things. You just got to be careful when you start calling things like, "There's going to be a surge. We need 30 ventilators. We need another 4,600 nurses, and we need more doctors around here because the numbers are going to skyrocket."
With a shortage of tests, a tiger tested positive yesterday.
I saw that.
You heard about that.
I did.
I saw your post.
Why would you test a tiger when we don't have enough tests to take care of actual human beings?
Apparently, they're testing other animals at the zoo because it wasn't just the tiger. There were other.
One of the zookeepers had.
Are we going to start eating them? What? I got Renee Ogo's online, and what is it? Dwayne says, "Lord have mercy from space. A good reasoning. Netflix has a show, Ancient Alien. It may explain these pandemics." See, I'm not the only one. CJ Bam says, "Ray, you need to turn the heat on in Mana Studio. Poor thing's always wearing a sweater."
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, so you
can imagine how cold it is, but it is freezing, like winter time here.
Yeah, I don't know who put your thing underneath the lamp, the
You put me under the lamp.
So.
The water outage is village-wide.
It is village-wide.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so they said it was a main line. So, but just in Agate.
Yes, just even affecting major
Oh,
charters.
so this is torture. Stay at home for the
Yeah,
villagers
because
of Agate.
up until now, you go, well, at least I got power, at least I got water. Whoa, not so fast, Agate. Not so,
Wow. I hope
not
they're
so
gonna
quick. So we'll
work on that quickly.
They say until 3 o'clock this afternoon, so watch out for it. 6:43 in the morning. And here's another delightful meme that is making its way around the internet. And I saw this yesterday on Facebook, which makes it a little bit more difficult to put this on, but somebody had transposed it and put it so that I could play it on the WhatsApp. But this thing makes me laugh out loud. This is the life that we lead. New coronavirus laws be like...
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses. You right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
Isn't that how we feel? Wait, I gotta play it again. I'm sorry. It's even funnier the second time around.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses. You right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
Yeah, right away. So here's the overcook, undercook. He does the thing with his hands. Our children will memorize that. That will be one of the lasting memes that we've got from 2020 and the coronavirus. Hey, it's 6:45 in the morning. Some of you might be going, okay, is there any actual serious news here today? And no, there isn't. It's all the continuous update on where we are. What?
No, there isn't.
No, there isn't. Look, it's the coronavirus. This is the story. There is nothing else going on outside of the occasional magistrate story that will get your attention. I've got a couple of them here this morning, and I will go to them because, frankly, I'm getting to a point where I'm tired of the coronavirus because it ain't letting up. I mean, it's something that we're going to have to live with, and by the time you and I get to feeling like it's normal, the governor's going to go throw some new rules at us. By the time we start to think that we've got a pretty good beat on what's going on and what it is that we've got to do to live our lives and enjoy a comfortable kind of rhythm through this coronavirus, something else will pop up. Somebody else, some other tin pot dictator with an idea of what it is to control us. Because apparently we need significant controlling around here. The sands will shift again. So just kind of get used to it. The update here, and the big alarm is going to get sounded now. 6 Guam kids have tested positive. Not a whole lot of other information about these kids. The 1-year-old was infected due to household contact with somebody else. Otherwise, we've got the other 5 are ranging in age between 10 and 19 years of age, according to the folks over at Public Health and Social Services. Now, I don't know to what degree, how hard these kids are going to get sick. Generally, that it is believed that this is a disease that is going to be more rampant, more virulent, more violent for people in their 60s and 70s. So I guess we'll watch and see what kind of care needs to be provided. It doesn't say much by way of where they are. I mean, are they just under some kind of quarantine, or they've been placed in the hospital? No new information on that. And then the church cluster reporting 7 cases. A number of these cases now associated with Iglesia Ni Cristo, and it's an interesting. It's an interesting church. If you know some people that attend Iglesia Ni Cristo and the rules that they have for gathering and things like that, where the men are over here, the women are over there, it is possible that the INC, some of these guys, they might be down the same gender line, one way or the other, as a result of that. And they generally get together kind of often. They've got their regular weekend get-togethers, and I believe that there's also an INC gathering that takes place in the middle of the week as well, in what are certainly known around here as some of the prettiest churches that we have. They look like Disney churches. So you got that. The other big story here, not that it makes any kind of difference at all, is apparently we're done with the Department of Education school year. The 2019-2020 school year, at least as far as the Department of Education is concerned, is over. All of the third quarter, fourth quarter sporting events that were supposed to be taking place are over. So the real sad part is there's some seniors, right, that have been looking forward to this because they've got these rivalries and things like volleyball and basketball and all these other games, all these other late in the year sports, and they ain't gonna be able to play and get the glory of being able to beat their rivals once again. And you kind of got to feel sorry for them. Also feel sorry for the ones that have been working really hard at their sport so that they might be able to get seen by somebody and get a scholarship and nail some kind of a scholarship. And it won't make you feel any better, but I'll say it anyway, is every other high school senior on the planet is having this issue that we're done with school, and I was kind of hoping that maybe somebody'd see me. I might be able to fill in a check mark on somebody's scholarship list, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening for you or really for anybody else that you're going to be starting school with. Can you imagine what that's going to be like? It will eventually, I don't know when, but we'll eventually get past this coronavirus thing and return to whatever normal is going to feel like after that. And then it will be the summer of 2020, and then it will be back to school 2020. What's that going to feel like for the number one, the graduating seniors? Number two, what about everybody else, the juniors now that are going to become seniors in the schools? How much of this year are you going to have to make up when it gets to be the new school year? Because for all intents and purposes, kids have been out of school since March.
Yes, and the other thing is DOE is extending their their summer school program, and they will add additional classes and courses. So it's free for public school kids, I believe, but for private school kids who want to attend, they may end up having to pay a fee. Are they going to waive those fees and allow maybe some private school kids to make up some credits that they need for graduation or for the next school year?
Yeah.
That's a question that I have if we ever get to talk to them.
Yeah, we'll see what we can find out. I was hoping to get a hold of one and find out what the story is going to be for the private schools, the archdiocese school system, because there's the kids now, including our daughters, that are going, hey, what's that? No more school for DOE? Okay, what about us? Because
they're still online.
They're doing online learning and from what I'm told, not necessarily loving the process, and that's all there is to it. 7:15, expecting a telephone call in another 25 minutes from Congressman Mike Nicholas, who was on a conference call yesterday with a number of people from the 35th Guam legislature. Wow, isn't that something else? They were able to get all these people together on this conference call, but they can't find a way to meet so that they can have some kind of a session. Now, some of you, especially the ones that pay attention, will go, but Ray, aren't you the guy that says the legislature needs to butt out and just let Lou handle everything? Yes, I am that guy. But absent any movement from the governor's office on things that will actually make a difference, could actually make a difference in your life. And I'm going to go through the thing again because the legislature seems to be okay with getting together and deciding that we need to give the governor of Guam more power, more authority over the citizenry of Guam and our movements. Yes, we'll need to be able to give her penalties that her posse of badges might be able to hand out to people that are flouting the law and going and gathering in parties greater than 3 or 4 or 5, or maybe taking a sip of an alcoholic drink in a public place, or being on the road without some kind of a placard on the car. I got another placard sign, but I can't put it on the radio. I can't put it on the Facebook Live. Letter K. What could the letter K stand for? Come on now. Come on. Help me, people. Work with me, 6:52 in the morning. It's the letter K. What could that placard be all about? The more picaroo of you have already sorted this out. You probably didn't even need to hear me say the word K. You probably heard the letter K. You already knew.
Does that come before Boca and Maigu?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it does. It's 6:52 in the morning. We'll need multiple placards for some automobiles here before this is all done. But you know what? That's my point. That's my point. Is they're happy to do that. We have since this started saying people are already losing their job. I was the first guy that had told you that there were layoffs already going on in Tumon, that there were big hotels that were already telling their full-time people, I may need to take you down to part-time. I'll try to keep you at hours sufficient so you can still get benefits, but no guarantees. This is a long time ago that I told you that, and I said people were going to need some help, and we needed to then have a conversation about lowering the liquid fuels tax. We needed to then have a serious conversation about rolling back the business privilege tax. We needed to then have a conversation about a tax holiday on food and medicine so that people could keep more money in their pockets. And now everybody's running around saying, well, we're going to get some kind of federal stimulus. There will be some money coming in from Uncle Sam to help cover people's paychecks, to make sure that businesses can still provide paychecks and hours to all of their loyal employees. But weeks away. But people need the money. They need the relief right now. And the legislature could, on an emergency basis, get together and start having that conversation. And maybe, I think the folks in the Guam Daily Post might have put it better than anybody else. This is not rocket science. We just need to get enough people in the body together. What makes a quorum at the legislature, Mon? 8 people. We just need to find 8 people, and we put them. What's 8 times 6 is what, Real Joe?
Thanks, Ray.
No problem. Because I knew not to ask you know who.
I don't know.
So we just need to have that big an area. An area that's...
What is it, Ray?
40. No, that's not right. 48. Maybe. I need to have a space big enough for 8 people to get together with 6 feet in between them, and then we've got our quorum. Then we just
They could do it in the Plaza de España. Just spread out.
We could do it in the parking lot over at the airport. There's nobody there right now. There's nobody at the airport right now. Have you been by there lately? Have you? All right. Anyway, 6:55 in the morning, and they say what would stop if island schools and private workplaces can establish remote working, and if family members and friends can continue to stay in touch with each other through video conferencing applications, why can't the legislature? All right. Now we talked to Bob Klitsky about this. Bob was absolutely against the idea of doing some kind of online networky Zoom meeting, Skype meeting, WhatsApp meeting with the legislators. But there's nothing that says they can't physically get together to do these things out in the open. You just have somebody with a video camera capture everything, enough people to count votes and say that we've talked about this measure, we have passed this measure, we'll send it on to the governor's office, and then let the governor swing on the idea. At least it will be out of your hands. At least it'll be out of your hands. 6:56 and change in the morning. 888-825-5888-TALK. As I'm playing around looking for other things that we can talk about. I'm a fan of good news. I recognize that there is enough hard news out there, that there's enough that will put a frowny face on you. And so I want to give you something that I think is good news. And that is, while we're in the midst of this coronavirus, you don't have to go for jury duty.
Nice.
Any prospective jurors, I got this from Tina yesterday, any prospective jurors who were summoned to report for jury service in the month of April will not have to report on the date of their April summons, in line with the administrative order of the court. New notices or further guidance will be sent out at a later date. And I like this. Thank you for your understanding. We really apologize, because we know that so many of you were looking forward to jury duty. We know that so many of you were looking forward to coming in, and I feel for them over at the court. Mana and I did this. We actually did this together.
I actually liked jury duty.
Okay, because at the time you were working at Gita and you actually got paid to be on jury duty. You actually was just, for me, I was not working at Gita, and so it was a pain in the rump. And so the first day we get out there, and this is the kind of the difference, or the similarity between Mana and I. So we get into this room, and it's filled. I mean, it's the big jury get-together room before they do all of this other stuff, the voir dire and that kind of thing. And so we get in the room, and our first instinct, we find each other, and then our second instinct is, who do we know here? Who in here do we know? And between the two of us, started campaigning. Hi. Yeah, hi, I'm Ray.
You're not supposed to talk to anybody, I guess.
I'm on the point. I work at a radio station. Oh, yeah, your mom
I
listens
knew
to me all the
people
time.
from church.
Yeah, Monty knows everybody, so she's starting it. It's all the same questions. Are you running? Are you running? Are you running? Anyway, so no jury duty going to be taking place at least until after we get out of this, and that's got to go. For somebody out there, that's awesome news. For somebody that got that envelope and it's got that barcode and the secret number, right, that you're supposed to bring with you when you show up over at the court. You're looking at that. I know you've been sweating that. Well, guess what? You don't have to sweat it no more. But you might still.
But do they still have to do the daily calls?
I think
Do you remember
this.
that? You're
I
supposed
think
to
this
call
is
the
this is the one
that excuses you.
where they get everybody together and then give you the instructions on the daily call. So this is just the corral for April, and they're not going to need them for April because there ain't any court going on. So we got that, and this might be good news for some people. But Ernest the Choco has decided that they're going to be postponing Little Shop of Horrors. That's horrors for those of you that might have misheard it. It's the Gate Theater spring production of 2020. They're supposed to be doing it with Father Duane. It's the Little Shop of Horrors is postponed until further notice. So if you're holding tickets on that, I don't know what's going to be happening for you. And then there's this. When it comes to is it time already? I'll save it because I don't want to get started on this. I was talking about the courts and jury duty, but there is a way that the people over at the courts they've got these modules that you can give to the kids for their online and distance learning. Can you hear the kids in their eyes rolling right now?
Yes.
Hey, thanks. 6:59 and change. The radio station KUSG getting you 93.3. This is The Point. Mona's coming back with more news from the Guam Daily Post. Real Joe Cruz can answer the phone when you call it 888-8255. Hit me up with your memes at 988-5874. Fox News Live on The Point.
A rising death toll. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Coronavirus now blamed for more than 10,000 deaths in the U.S. While New York State has seen nearly half of those deaths, other states are seeing numbers spiking. Louisiana fast becoming a hotspot, with New Orleans hardest hit.
We have the highest death rate in the country right now per capita for COVID, and we have more per capita cases than New York City. So it's really affecting our city. We're a community of about 400,000 people, and we're at the point now where, everyone has been touched by this.
Colin Arnold is the head of Homeland Security for New Orleans. There's concern they could run out of ventilators by the end of the week. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson moved to an intensive care unit just a day after he was admitted to a hospital for coronavirus. The 55-year-old had been quarantined in his residence since being diagnosed late last month. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers today issuing an executive order postponing tomorrow's scheduled in-person voting in the presidential primary over coronavirus concerns. That move immediately challenged. There's a push to increase access to online purchases for those on food stamps.
As of March 13th, 37.5 million people were getting SNAP benefits, and there is a pilot program allowing deliveries in 6 states using food stamps. But that means most people do not get to take advantage of that in the country, and now more than ever, people are relying on grocery delivery to avoid venturing out. At the same time, food banks are being depleted, some impacted by a lack of volunteers. While the Trump administration's been pushing for work requirements to receive SNAP benefits, even governors of states like Arizona have asked for the rules to be relaxed right now as unemployment ticks up and more people need more help.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Stocks sharply higher today, with investors optimistic some European countries are seeing declines in the number of new coronavirus infections and deaths. America is listening to Fox News.
Let Chili's To Go do the cooking for you. Open to satisfy your cravings for delicious burgers, tacos, and ribs, or feed the whole family with all-in-one platter offerings. We're all in this together. Receive a 20% discount on all regular to-go orders. Call 648-7377 to place an order. Chili's will bring your food up to you curbside. Visit Chili's Guam on Facebook and Instagram for more info. Chili's, you can still savor the moment at home.
Hofity, this is Kayla from APL Guam. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated team in Guam and the U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit apl.com.
A third cruise ship has docked in Florida.
Coral Princess was finally allowed to dock Saturday after a month at sea with confirmed coronavirus cases, but most on board have yet to disembark. Kathleen O'Neill wants to go home to Raleigh.
There's really no sense of what's going on or when we're going to be allowed off. And to be honest with you, it's extremely disconcerting to see ambulance after ambulance going away.
The new rules from CDC say neither she nor the hundreds of others can fly commercial, so they're waiting for a charter. 3 from that cruise ship are dead. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
New coronavirus deaths and infections appear to be slowing in Italy, Spain, and France, suggesting that lockdowns and social distancing are working. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announcing today a complete lockdown over the upcoming Passover holiday to control that country's COVID-19 outbreak. The U.S. and Britain are still bracing for a peak in deaths from the pandemic. The coronavirus pandemic continuing to affect how the U.S. Supreme Court operates.
The Supreme Court will postpone oral arguments scheduled for its April session. A court spokeswoman said the move was in line with recommended public health guidance in response to the coronavirus outbreak. The justices had been scheduled to hear arguments over 6 days in late April. The announcement comes after the court postponed oral arguments scheduled for its March session, including a much-watched dispute over subpoenas for President Trump's financial records. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
Iraq's military says at least 3 rockets struck near the site of an American oil field service company in southern Iraq, but no one was killed. Today's attack was the first since last summer to target U.S. oil companies working in the oil-rich South. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
If you've ever struggled for breath, you know what a scary experience it is. Whether you have asthma, emphysema, COPD, lung cancer, or another respiratory illness, the right medical treatment makes all the difference. GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic has the latest technology and respiratory equipment, staffed by world-class pulmonologists. Make an appointment today with GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic and start breathing easier. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Cocoa Coffee Company mugs are now here. Show pride for your island as you enjoy your delicious Circle K coffee. Each generously sized 16-ounce mug is etched with Guam-inspired images like Chief Gadao, Serena, 2 lovers, and many more. The Cocoa Coffee Company mug collection is available for a limited time only, so don't miss out. Get yours today and collect them all. Exclusively available at Circle K locations. A portion of the proceeds go toward the Cocoa Bird Recovery Program.
Today at 7:06, I'm Ana Silva Tyron with a look at your local news from the Guam Daily Post. One more confirmed coronavirus case, bringing us to 113 confirmed cases on Guam. 25 people have recovered. The message is shifting, though, as more young people are getting affected. Public Health telling of 6 children falling victim to COVID-19, the youngest being a 1-year-old child. The other children range in age between 10 and 19. Public Health Director Linda DeNorsi saying the 1-year-old was infected due to household contact. The director didn't say whether the children are in the same family, but did note that the other 5 children likely were infected by household contacts, recent travel, and one from a family event. Well, Guam public health officials expect to release more details of their probe into COVID cases tied to a local church, Iglesia Ni Cristo, on Guam and in Saipan. Several of the church's Guam members have tested positive for COVID-19. Director Linda DeNorsi says that they've identified several areas in various villages that are linked to patients. They will discuss which areas today, but Iglesia Ni Cristo has churches in Harmon, Apra, and in Jigo. Well, Guam Public Schools will remain closed. The Department of Education ending the school year amidst the coronavirus and the governor's extended public health emergency. Superintendent John Fernandez does say that it will not impact the grab-and-go meals, which will continue through May 28th, which was to be the actual end of the school year. More news after this.
Let Chili's To Go do the cooking for you. Open to satisfy your cravings for delicious burgers, tacos, and ribs, or feed the whole family with all-in-one platter offerings. We're all in this together. Receive a 20% discount on all regular to-go orders. Call 648-7377 to place an order. Chili's will bring your food up to you curbside. Visit Chili's Guam on Facebook and Instagram for more info. Chili's, you can still savor the moment at home.
Delegate Mike Nicholas offered a couple of options to get people the much-needed pandemic relief money. In a conference call yesterday, he offered the use of $10 million in anticipated advance war claim payment reimbursements from the federal government. Senators, however, would still need to reappropriate the use of the $10 million once the government of Guam receives it. So Nicholas's proposals would need either the government of Guam Retirement Fund or private banks to front the relief assistance payments. Senators will also need to pass legislation to authorize their participation in the program. The Speaker of the Legislature was part of the conference call yesterday. She's not said, though, when or if she's going to call session. The Guam Waterworks Authority didn't say exactly what areas. They actually said the entire village is going to be affected by a water outage today. It's a main line break in the village. Crews will be working on it. It'll take 8 to 10 hours before water to the village is restored. Elsewhere in the news, a 28-year-old female was arrested on robbery charges on Saturday afternoon in Jotnya. GPD spokesman Paul Tapau says that the preliminary reports indicate a man was driving on Artemio Street in Jotnya around 1 in the afternoon when a woman stood in front of his vehicle. An unknown man then approached the vehicle's window on the driver's side and began yelling at the victim, striking his door. The driver got out of his car and a fight erupted with the unknown man. While the two men were fighting, the woman allegedly stole the man's bag and his personal belongings, and she and an unknown man fled in a Honda Accord. Police were able to find the vehicle at a home in Jotnya and arrested Misty Pangilinan. She was charged with robbery and guilt established by complicity and criminal facilitation. Tapau said the case was forwarded to GPD's Criminal Investigation Division for further investigation. And if you're out and about today, which you shouldn't be, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and hear an alarm or a loud voice in the air, don't panic. The Office of Homeland Security and Civil Defense and Naval Base Guam will be conducting routine testing of the Vital Communication and Advanced Warning System. The test will be of all 19 hazard alert warning system sirens, and you can expect to hear a scripted voice messaging announcing the start and end of the test and 10 seconds of the alert tone. Again, don't panic. It's just a test. Mm-hmm. And those are your top stories from the Guam.
Will it be the governor's voice? Is she going to be reading it to us? Wash your hands.
What would that sound like?
Sing happy birthday, wash your hands. 7:10 in the morning. We've got partly cloudy skies and isolated showers today. Winds out of the east up to about 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs today should be about 88 degrees. Tonight and tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, isolated showers, easterly winds up to about 15 miles an hour. Cool tonight, about 77 degrees, overnight lows, and then highs tomorrow should be about 88 degrees. Sunrise this morning was at 6:13, earlier for sunrise. Sunset tonight is going to be at 6:33 in some of the usual spots here. 7-11 in the morning. And in just a few minutes, we've got Congressman Mike Nicholas going to call up, give us the abbreviated version of a very long conversation that he had yesterday was among some of the senators of the 35th Guam legislature on a couple of the plans and proposals that Mana was riffing on just a little bit ago. It's 7-11 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Day. This is Congressman Nicholas. The federal government is making $7 million in small business disaster loans available for small businesses impacted by the coronavirus. If you would like more information, please contact our office at 671-475-6453 or our local Small Business Administration office at 671-472-7419. You can also email our office at michael.sanicholas@mail.house.gov. God bless you and God bless Guam.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Cocoa Coffee Company is now available at Circle K. Single-origin coffee beans carefully sourced and locally roasted to give you the freshest cup of coffee Guam has to offer. Grab a cup that's brewed every 30 minutes or purchase a bag of the locally roasted whole beans. Flavors now serving: light medium roasted Ethiopia and medium dark roasted Jamaican Blue Mountain. Exclusively available at Circle K. With every Cocoa Coffee Company purchase, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the Cocoa Recovery Program.
Portions of the program being brought to you by Security Title, making sure you actually own the property you think you just bought. That's the idea behind those guys doing those searches. And KFC knows how important social distancing is at this time. So as part of their effort to ensure your safety, they're offering contactless delivery. Riders will arrange with you a drop-off area. There's the food and an envelope. You take the food and give the envelope with money to the driver, and they'll take it back to KFC, and the transaction will be concluded. Actually, after you've sucked down the last of the KFC bones, the transaction will be concluded. You can call 300-3278. That's 300-FAST for KFC's delivery services.
Rediscover Talk Radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation. This is The Point.
Yes, it is The Point. 7:13 in the morning. 888-255-888-TALK is the telephone number. Thanks very much for sending this meme in to 988-5874. That's 988-5874. I'm actually getting requests to play this now.
Right to jail. You're playing music too loud? Right to jail. Right away. You're driving too fast? Jail. Slow? Jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses? You right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
There we go. And that's what it feels like. So Jerry Roberts walks in the studio and says, have they established the checkpoints yet? And we're going, there's no checkpoints.
We should have lied to him.
There's no checkpoints.
And there's a curfew for you, Jerry.
Yeah, there's no check. Yeah, so
I've already got my curfew. So I don't need one of those.
So that's where a lot of people are. There was this conversation that took place Friday, and it sounded like by Tuesday we'll have the checkpoint information and all of that stuff. And there was never a plan to begin with, but they said there would be, and so everybody was running around last night going, well, we better get inside. It's almost 6 o'clock. We got the curfew.
From what I understand, there are some law enforcement officials that believe that there is a curfew, and they have certain authority to get people out of the water.
I heard somebody was chasing after Fred Black.
Yeah, Fred Black was swimming in the PD channel, and he was told to get out of the water.
Well, Fred Black should be arrested for a lot of reasons. for all the stuff he did when he was AG and all that.
General principles. I get it. But I mean,
I love you, Fred. Just kidding.
In this case, is innocent. Is he online? All right. So there is no curfew right now. There is no checkpoint. The real and the reason is, as has been pointed out by everybody that has read the Constitution and the Organic Act, Governor Leon Guerrero doesn't have the authority to apply any penalties. Okay. So the only thing that can happen is somebody might pull you over and say, what are you doing? And then you go, it's none of your business. And they go, okay. And then you get to go along. But she wants to make it so that a penalty, i.e. up to $5,000.
I thought that was Tina that wanted the $5,000.
No, it's in the, I don't know where I assume all legislation comes from the governor's office because there ain't anything going on over at the legislature.
That may be
so they said $5,000, and even the people that wrote the legislation go, that's kind of high. That's kind of stiff there. It's a misdemeanor. That misdemeanors generally only go up to about $1,000 and up to a year in jail. Really? For drinking a beer on the beach or for being on the road without the placard, you're going to send me to jail for a year? It's people out of their minds.
Yeah, no, and it's not that anybody's going to enforce it like that. I don't think the courts probably wouldn't do it. I mean, ultimately, you have to get in front of a judge, and the judge would have to determine that thing, and probably wouldn't be mandatory.
Yeah.
But the issue is going to be, it's all to give people more reasons to stay inside. That's all what they're trying to do.
But there's food outside.
Yeah, no, you go outside to get food. So yeah, I'm going to KFC. I'm going here. I'm going to Payless. I'm going to Cost You Less. I'm going to the mom and pop store. Okay, yeah, I don't think anybody is going to have a problem with that. One thing they're going to have to look at sooner or later,
yes,
are the issues of what products are going to be possible to be purchased in stores, because people are going to need things beyond basic food at some point in time.
Yeah, we're going to get into that, for heaven's sakes, where we're going to start counting on somebody. We're going to rely on some knucklehead nose picker in the government of Guam to determine what is essential to me. Sure, like when they put up the barricades over at Kmart. I know parents that need to buy clothes for their kids.
I know.
So
that's what I said.
Right. Anyway,
at some point they'll have to figure that out.
We'll get into that.
I got a question for Mike once you get him.
I've got him now. 7:17 in the morning. Congressman Mike Nicholas joining the program. Good morning, Congressman.
Hey, Ray. How you doing?
I'm okay. I insist you get rest. I got a note from the congressman last night. It was at 8 o'clock at night, asking about being on the radio this morning. I'm looking at my watch, going, "All right, there's a good reason for me to still be awake. I don't know what it is with the congressman, so I order you to get some rest after this call."
Okay, Ray.
All right. And now you were online yesterday with the Speaker of the Legislature. Looked like Jim Moylan was there, and the sign of the Republican Party, Mary Torres, talking about a couple of proposals that you got that could get money in the hands of the citizenry here, even prior to anything else happening with the federal relief programs. In a nutshell, tell me about the two plans.
Well, I think Senator Torres captured it best when she said that it's pretty much bridge financing that we'll be securing in order to access capital and get it into the hands of our people. We had two proposals that we talked about. One involved basically creating a security in GITA that would then be sold to the retirement fund, collateralized with the payments coming in from the federal government. With the interest paid for by the local government, the other $10 million, and then using that money to basically get funds out to our people who are waiting for those federal resources to get in, either on the unemployment side or on the cash assistance side. The other option that we talked about was using the same scenario, but having the local banks basically capitalizing the loans, and then the government of Guam is the one that pays the interest on the loans. The people don't pay any interest, and they're able to get cash advances on their incoming federal money. So those are the two options that we talked about.
All right, now and I'm not going to say from painful experience. I think there are some in the former Calvo administration that know from painful experience what happens when you mess with the retirement fund. There are people there that treat that money like it is their own money, and would probably put up some kind of opposition to the idea that they would be the ones that would be essentially fronting the money, even though it was short term and even though there was interest behind it, but fronting the money for this bridge financing, as you refer to it.
Well, I would, and that's why I would ask that we all look at it, step back and look at it for what it is, and not for what it might be perceived to be. Because the retirement fund buys bonds all the time. They go out and they invest in the bond market, and so really what we're talking about here is the retirement fund buying a bond that really would be a very compelling investment, because it would be federally, it would be backed by a guaranteed federal resource. The local government will also guarantee it, and the interest will already be capitalized.
And we already know what the interest rate is, so it's not like you're shooting in the dark.
Right, and the interest rate will be very lucrative for the fund. I mean, it'll be more attractive than really most bonds, if not any bond that you can get out in the market right now with those kind of guarantees behind it. So, if you look at it strictly from an investment perspective, that's what we're talking about here. And so it's not that the same bad behavior that we've done in the past, where we dip into the retirement fund for whatever. This is really the government of Guam securitizing resources that we know we have coming in, and the retirement fund investing in that security.
Well, if you want to get something going on this, among the people that you need to be talking to are the actual retirees, the beneficiaries of the retirement fund, saying, "Would you like $1,200 now?"
Plus interest.
Yeah, plus interest. I can get you your $1,200 or $2,400 check now using the retirement fund, and we'll have them paid back just as soon as the federal government comes out with a plan to compensate everybody here on Guam. So I think, as I said, you talk to the retirement fund people, they may have issues with it over in the front office, but it's possible that the beneficiaries might be going, "Thanks very much. I need this money now. I'm not going to be getting my annuities from the retirement fund for some time." So yeah, if they can get in front of this and help us get our money, all right, well, that's one way to look at it. And then you've got another plan that would take this out of the hands of GITA, I suppose, and make it so that I would be able to go directly to a lending institution here on Guam and make my loan. And again, it would not be collateralized by my decent credit or my car or my house. It would be collateralized on the good faith and credit of the federal government, correct?
Correct. Yeah, and so financial institutions, they give out tax refund loans all the time. At least some do. So it's not like it's a reinvention of the wheel. We're basically just doing the same thing, but instead of the individual paying the interest, the local government will be fronting that, so that the people aren't taking the shirt off their backs in order to get access to their cash.
Yeah. Now, I'd taken a look at a couple of the stories that have come out of this. First of all, you get Gita saying, Melanie Mendiola over at Gita says, well, nobody talked to us. We weren't consulted with this plan, so we haven't been able to really take a look and review in detail. And I think that was a point that Tina brought up yesterday, was that we need consultation, and your response was, well, go consult then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the congressman. I do the federal work. This is actually local work. The reason why I'm bringing it to people's attention is that we can have, something on the table for the local government to consider and to put into motion. But really, this is the job for the senators to go and take the idea and then go and do the due diligence on it. I mean, I don't understand why I'm being told I need to go and do their job.
I understand. Now, there's the other side of the proposal, working with the banks, and there's a couple of articles in the news there this morning where they consult with Edon Talan from First Hawaiian Bank and Phil Flores from over at Bank Pacific. And as much as they'd like to help, apparently there is a whole lot of infrastructure and policy that needs to be put up into place. They've got to check what the federal guidelines are going to be on being able to provide these loans. Is this something that you think that the local banks might be able to stand up quickly, or is there something that you can do on the federal side, talking to your counterparts there, to make it easier for not just banks on Guam? I mean, it sounds like this might be a good idea for other territories where they've got local banks in there that might be able to stand something up. Is there something that you can do with Treasury people, perhaps, that would lubricate the process for the local banks?
If the local banks, this is my arena because it's the financial services.
I recall you used to work at a bank.
Yeah, we can definitely help if there's any federal hurdles that need to be cleared. But I do know that local financial institutions have done tax refund loans, and I'm not quite sure whether the banks have the same hurdle. But with credit unions, I know you can go and get a car loan without even setting foot in the bank. You just do everything online. And so I would proffer that if the work is done to build out the infrastructure, and there's anything they need help with, I'd be more than happy to, on the federal side, turn the wheels that we need to turn out here.
All right, we'll watch and see how this plays. Is there anything left for the legislature to do with this?
Well, definitely they would need to draft the bill and basically mandate that the $10 million coming in from the war claim reimbursement gets put into a lockbox, so that pays the interest on either of those two proposals. And if they do and in either of the two proposals, they'll also need to legislate what are the minimum terms and conditions that need to be part of the application process, so the right guarantees are in place for the money to be assigned where it needs to go, and for the government to make whole whoever is doing the lending.
Right, and not too far off from what has already been done between the governor's office and the legislature and the attorney general's office by way of the World War II loyalty recognition. Last piece in the KUM, is this KUM or PNC? I can't tell. Governor Lulian Guerrero would not comment on St. Nicholas's proposal. At her daily news conference, Governor said she was not informed or engaged on the matter. She did say, though, that her team is looking at a different program that could provide financial support for the local community, but did not share any further details. Are you aware of anything that might be working over at the governor's office that would be moving in the same direction? The idea being putting some money into the hands of the citizens.
I have no idea what the administration's working on at this time.
That's two of us. Okay, Congressman, I appreciate your time here this morning. I'm not. Jerry Roberts is in the studio. He had a question for you.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Sure. Hey, Jerry. I'm okay.
Good. The question I have is regarding solo entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people. I'm one of them. I was in a line at the store the other day, and somebody was talking. I think they're in the party business, and they rent these things to kids, jumpers and things, and they're not sure. There's a lot of people that are talking on social media about it. For people that don't have employees, they're solo entrepreneurs. What is in all of this recovery money? What is in it for them? Because I know for larger companies, if you have employees, you can get a loan, and then after a certain period of time, if you keep these people on your payroll, then the loan is forgiven. Now, but how about for people that are just doing it on their own? I mean, they got a business license. They're doing a certain service for the community. What's in all this for them?
We call it out here the gig economy. Those people who are pretty much independent contractors, they absolutely qualify for all the programs. We made sure to write that into the federal law, and so you would not only qualify for the unemployment compensation, but you would also qualify for any of the SBA loans that you go in and apply for.
Economic disasters, things like that.
A business.
Yeah, I want to say the FFCRA. There's any number of these other federal programs that have been rolled out already, where they were very, very aware that there were going to be some small businesses, maybe some sole proprietorships and self-employed that need to be wrangled up in these conversations. And my understanding is that they were. We're in an unusual situation because here on Guam we don't have unemployment insurance, so it's difficult for us to tap directly into that. And with regard to the $1,200 or $2,400 and $500 for the kids, all of that is based on IRS databases, which Guam is not a part of. So it comes down to a question of being able to fold in our database, contact and information, as well as, and I understand that they just got this all sorted out, people that don't file income tax returns, i.e. people on Social Security or who don't meet the minimum thresholds for taxes, for tax returns. There is a mechanism now for them to get, based on their Social Security addresses, their hands on that money. You're aware of that, right?
Yes, those who are receiving Social Security, they actually are getting direct deposits from their Social Security accounts, so they'll be included. And then I know that IRS is also rolling out a simplified form for anybody who didn't file. And, Guam being a mirror jurisdiction, that they really need to adopt that right away so that people who didn't file in 2018 or 2019 can just kind of, fill that out real quick and get it turned in and get on the roll, because it's just a matter of being on the list. And that's what we're trying to make sure everybody's able to do. I got you. Congressman, I'll talk to you pretty soon. In the meantime, I'm going to help Jerry Roberts fill out his PPP form and turn that into the banks, because they're waiting on it.
They're waiting on it.
Yeah, my understanding is it's first come, first serve, right, Mike? So, I mean, of the billions of dollars in this PPP program, we got to get in front of all of the other small businesses, right? Yeah, I mean, there's only so much money there, and whoever gets their hands on it first. But I'm pretty confident that if it does deplete, we will see some quick action out here to recharge that, because no one is wanting anybody to get left out here. Gotcha. All right, it's 7:30 in the morning. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Congressman. You have a fantastic day, and don't forget what I said. Get some rest. I've got headlines. Yeah, we're going there. Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point coming up, brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. And you can go to sba.fhb.com, Jerry, and start filling out the paperwork there if you like. Also being brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services. But first, headlines news from the Guam Daily Post, brought to you by Lolita Kamet of Remax Diamond Realty for your real estate needs. Call her at 688-6743. GPSI also brings you the 730 news. Their number is 477-3058. Al and his team want to help you work things out with the federal government and other players. So find out how GPSI Guam can assist you. Now with news from the Guam Daily Post, Monte Silva Tyron.
113 confirmed cases of coronavirus on Guam. There are 6 children included in those numbers. The youngest is a year old. Public Health is also investigating a cluster of individuals who tested positive, all attending Iglesia Ni Cristo Church. Public Health to disclose which villages have been linked to those patients. And DOE will determine how they will handle the graduation of students, but as far as classes go, all have been canceled for the remainder of the school year. School Administrator John Fernandez says the decision was made amidst the coronavirus and governor's extended public health emergency to May 5th. And a couple of options have been given to expedite the release of the pandemic relief funds, and Guam's Congressman Mike Nicholas says his proposal will need legislative authorization. No word from the Speaker, though, on if she will call for session to address his proposal. And those are your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, you can pick up a copy of the paper or log on to their website at postguam.com.
Deanna Palmer online says, Jerry, PPPs for sole proprietors starts April the 10th, so you've got time to hit the usual spots and fill out those forms. It's 7:32 in the morning. Where do you want me to go? Jerry Roberts now. And today's Extra Point being brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Is this isolation thing bugging you? Do you have doubts you can keep it going for months if needed? Do you think some advice from someone who did it for a year could help? Today, I've got that for you next on the Extra Point.
As COVID-19 spreads and is now officially a pandemic, Guahan Insurance Services is taking additional safety measures. We are continuing to service your needs, and we are here for you, online and by phone. Our location is temporarily closed to the public. Please call 475-1162 for immediate assistance. For more information, please visit our website at guahaninsurance.com. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation as we get through this together.
Scott Kelly is a retired NASA astronaut who spent nearly a year on the International Space Station. He knows all about being stuck at home and how challenging that can be. Maybe we can learn something from a guy who couldn't go to the grocery store or anywhere else for that matter. He could take a walk, but it required a few days in preparation if he wanted to venture outside of the nothingness of space. He's back on Earth now and is once again confined to his home, as we are. And he gave the New York Times some tips on how to survive these weeks and months ahead. We covered some of this a few extra points ago, but it's worth going over the territory again. Number one, follow a schedule. It keeps you busy and restores some purpose to your day. Kelly liked the structure and says he missed that when he returned from space. If you have a family, talk about a schedule with everyone, the kids included. They like to be a part of things. It'll be valuable for them to know they're contributing to the family's well-being through this scheduling. Number two, make sure you add some fun things into the schedule. Family movie nights are great, and let the kids help make the snacks. 3, have a consistent bedtime. Great sleep begins with sleeping at a similar time every night. The body loves order and consistency and rewards you for it. Try for 7 to 9 hours a night. I know it sounds like a lot, but I'm getting more now than I used to, and I've chatted with other people who are saying the same things. Get outside for fresh air at least once a day. Getting in the sun for 15 to 30 minutes a day adds vitamin D and just feels good. Kelly couldn't experience this when he was on the space station and began to crave it. Number 5, get some exercise. It doesn't have to be hard, sweaty workouts. Walking is fine, or some light to moderate movement of any kind. Number 6, have a hobby. If you don't have one, start one. There will never be a better time than now to develop a new interest. Plant something. Take up a musical instrument. Learn how to fix a car. Or maybe just read more. Number 7, start a journal. Write down how you feel about this experience day by day. Years from now, somebody will read what you write, and it will be important for them. NASA discovered the value of keeping a journal when in isolation, and Kelly did that. Number 8, connecting with others is huge. If you're not yet on the video conferencing bandwagon, jump aboard. Those connections bolster mental health, physical health, and that includes helping our immune system. Number 9, seek reliable sources of information. A lot of things pushed on social media haven't been properly checked out. Our interests are better served when we get a balanced perspective. Good advice from Scott Kelly, former astronaut who spent a year in isolation on the International Space Station. That's the Extra Point. Stay home and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you took your life into your own hands. I mean, certainly a dangerous move anytime to talk about astronauts in the presence of Real Joe Cruz.
I'm sorry.
Because you always run the risk of some kind of Uranus joke. 7:36 in the morning. Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point. You get double dose of him today. He's got the other Jerry Roberts, which is the work zone in the Guam Daily Post, talking about conquering fear, which is something that you need to take a look at. And it's possible that some of the things they talked about in the Rift today may show up, or a companion thought, a parallel thought, will show up in the one about conquering fear.
Yes,
but
sir.
You won't know until you pick up your copy of the Guam Daily Post. It's 7:37, and that is iConnect time. iConnectGuam.com on the World Wide Web. That's where you go if you want information, details on ways that they can help you out with great plans for your mobile, your internet life, even push to talk if you're in business at iConnect.
Becoming a homeowner can be a scary process, but it doesn't have to be, especially if you have the right guidance. Break through your fears and go to a real estate professional that will ensure a higher chance of success. That person is Lolita Camet of RE/MAX Diamond Realty. Lolita also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, and military and corporate relocation. Don't be afraid. Call Lolita Camet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Guam, a regional medical city, the first choice for your specialty care needs. Also, American President Lines, APL, global presence with a local home.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his Smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his Smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his Smile team.
They make smiles happen.
Well, let me see where the checkpoints are now. Wait a second, there are no checkpoints. Let me say that for clarity. There are no checkpoints. What do we got here in terms of just regular old traffic? A little bit of traffic southbound Marine Corps Drive, just past Waisang Song up in Daydudu. That'll meet up with some traffic, believe it or not, trying to get onto Route 3 on Marine Corps Drive. That'll meet up with some traffic headed northbound. Not a whole lot of traffic, but there are some cars out there. Supposed to stay home and be Governor Lucet, stay home. A little bit of back and forth over in front of GPO and California Mart area. Is that what's going on? Maybe a little bit of traffic around Cost You Less as well. Looks like there might be some traffic lining up to turn onto the road that takes you to Payless Supermarket. Just waiting on that light to go green. And then that is about it. Don't see a whole lot happening in the downtown Agutnia area. Might see some southbound traffic just before you get to, as you pass by Cars Plus and the Padre Palomo Cemetery, all the way down to Big Navy in Sumai. And there must be something going on down there. Looking at the intersection of Route 1 and 2, over by where the Pizza Hut is, the Taco Bell area there. I've got traffic in both directions now slowing down at that light, and traffic into Big Navy is running very, very slow at this point. So watch out for that. Maybe there is finally some traffic worthy of reporting on. Wow, I'm feeling so, I don't know, just magoff about that. Where are we? 7:40 in the morning. Coming up, Vice Speaker Telena Nelson.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
Got my buddy Jose Martinez online. Lady D says, I got refused food stamps because $26,000 a year doesn't qualify for a couple. And my friend Tammy is online from the post office. Paris Mendiola Blas will always have Paris. Rudy Magallanes is there. Andrea Pellicani is online. Hey, I heard she got another job. I heard Andrea got another job. She's not in the radio anymore.
A cool job, too.
Works over at the legislature with Teresa Lai. Rita Camacho Hugo is on. My buddy Pierre Terrain is there. Richard Leon, have you done your DNR notice? There should be a movement for this. I told Mana,
I'm going to keep him alive, make him suffer.
This is the way it works in the family. There's all kinds of other people, but I don't know what it is. Mana is the keeper of all of my secrets. So if anything, if anything happens
to me,
you pay me
enough, I'll tell you some of them.
Yeah, well, I didn't say that you're going to be a good keeper of all of my secrets, but what happens on WhatsApp stays on WhatsApp, if you know what I mean. Who else? I got Lola Calvo's there. Brett Evan is online. Nice to see your name. It's been a while, buddy. Jessica Leon Guerrero, good morning to you. Gina San Nicolas, Deanna Palmer is there. Gus Castro Zasangas and Gayleen Cruz are playing around the Facebook Live. So is Jesse Bell saying good morning to everybody, and we say good morning to Telena Nelson, Vice Speaker, is on the line. Good morning, Telena. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Uncle Ray and Kimana. How are you guys doing?
Hi there.
You know what?
Doing
we're,
good.
we're doing okay. It always freaks me out when you call me Uncle Ray. It's just yes, Senator. This is the senator is calling me Uncle Ray, and now I feel quite old. At any rate, appreciate you taking some time to talk to me here, because there's so much that is going on. First of all, let's talk about ideas that you have had that might put some money into people's pockets in this tricky coronavirus time.
Yes. So, in March, I foresaw the impact of the response to coronavirus, and just doing some research with other countries, I realized that a lot of people during the lockdowns that they were doing, like in Italy, where they would have to also lose their jobs or maybe have some furloughs. And so, I did an unemployment assistance bill to help those that become unemployed as a result of this COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And as now we see it evolve, we see people getting furloughed, shortened in hours, and really, a lot of these people I know very personally, and some of them teachers, they work 2 jobs just so that they can provide for their family, and also to put money back into their classrooms to invest in their students.
Well, you're educated yourself, and you're surrounded by educators in that family.
Yes, and so I understand the plight of it, and also I foresaw, because way back I asked them to to shut down the flights, to ban flights coming in as a preventative measure, a preemptive measure. I feel personally that we could have decreased the impact if we banned a lot of our flights. And I knew that our tourism would be impacted, the hotel industry would be impacted, and all of the other businesses. And so really it was like, okay, what solution can we come up with to help the people in this time of crisis? And so I've been, advocating to hear this unemployment bill. I'd like to thank Senator Moylan for his protest yesterday.
Yeah, I've got a picture of that. He's out there, advocating. This is one of those things where we decide which side everybody is on and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference what side you're on if you're not getting together. The legislature needs to go into session. Right. There needs to be some kind of action, one way or the other, on certain measures that are floating around over at the legislature. I noticed with a great degree of interest that your name was not on a group that I've begun to refer to as the Gang of Six, and these are people that seem to be in a position where they want to jump away from their position, abdicate their authorities as members of the legislature by giving the governor of Guam the authority that she needs to be able to penalize me for wanting to hang out and watch the sunset over at the beach with a cold beer.
Well, I go swimming at the beach, so instead of watching the sunset with a cold beer, maybe you can go exercise instead.
No, I'm conducting mental exercises there as well.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out, of the 6 beers that I have in front of me, how many can I drink in between now and the onset of the sunset. And then the other part of that's my business. That's it's what I prefer to do when I'm over at the beach. However, if I'm at the beach enjoying my 6-pack of beer, watching the sunset, and there's nobody around me, for 20 feet, I don't understand why I would be subject to some kind of a penalty, why I would be subject to a fine.
Right. I think I believe that's a very harsh punishment. I believe that people are already struggling financially. I'm sure that it's difficult to maintain order, but the punishment does not fit the action. I feel we have to be fair across the board, which is why I didn't sign on to that bill. I didn't believe in fining people $5,000 or going to jail is really a solution to mitigate when we haven't put a plan in place on what we're going to do if we have to lock down. We haven't put any money into the people's hands to prepare and survive through this lockdown. And so,
Well, just the time motion of it, we've missed an opportunity to do that. If you try to do a lockdown right now, we've got every door to every shopping area is staggered. There's only so many people that are allowed in a Payless at any amount of time. If we decided that we were going to go in lockdown, it would take a month for everybody to be able to get into the store, buy the bread, milk, eggs, canned food, and biscuitsu that they're going to need to survive a lockdown of 2 weeks to 30 days. So
I'd have to disagree with you on that part. I believe the people have been stocking up on food. Our people are resilient, and they see.
It's not a question of resiliency. It's just time. Talena, it's just time motion. You can't get 165,000 people through the limited doors that we've got to be able to stock up on the limited supplies that we have. If you start talking about a lockdown now, there'd be a panic.
Foresight, right? And I think that the foresight that the people have had, seeing the impact and seeing the businesses close, I believe. I mean, if you haven't done it, I've seen people stocking up, preparing for, an undetermined amount of time for whatever actions that will happen. I think they're knowledgeable on that because we've experienced natural disasters. We've prepared. And so I believe that people can phase into this rather quickly.
No,
but you said
we're going to agree and disagree. We're going to agree to disagree on this, Talena, because there's another point that you brought up is who's got money.
Yeah, we didn't put money in people's hands. And so there are a large number of our community that haven't been able to stock up because they don't have the resources or the means to do so. And so they're still relying on the grab-and-go lunch kits that DOE is handing out. So those are the families that and I think the number was 30,000 people are taking part in that program. And it's like, those are the families that aren't able to stockpile their homes of toilet paper, of food, of canned goods, of anything. And so until we're able to put, and you said so yourself, until we're able to put money in those people's hands, we can't lock them down and then restrict them to just the confines. And in the village of Agate doesn't have water today. I mean, what are we going to do in those instances where they don't have water and they're in the middle of a curfew and then they can't go out and get the water?
I'm sure Miguel Berdalio, the director of GWA, will be able to clarify a lot of the issues, and I'm sure he'll get water.
Just things to consider.
Let me just say that I have been working from the beginning to try to mitigate all these things. I wrote the governor about the meals and asking them, can you provide MREs? Because, the meals are ready to eat. So those things you can take home and you can stock up on that for the people if that's necessary. And I even asked her if you could make the National Guard be a logistics point for these meals. And so these are the things that, solutions that I have been presenting and, proposals. One of the biggest things I'm very concerned about is our nurses. I spoke with a wide variety of nurses, and a lot of them are struggling day to day, going back home to their families. And so the day before yesterday, I wrote a letter to the governor, imploring her to provide lodging and accommodations for them, and then also to ensure that our nurses get an equity of pay. Because some nurses who are working at GMH or that are not employed at GMH but are voluntold to go to GMH or perhaps are volunteering their time or giving up their time, they're not being paid equitable to what the GMH nurse would be paid, like night differential, hazardous pay, other compensations. And so really that is my focus, today to try to get a resolve for our nurses. They're in the hospitals, in the front line, dealing with COVID patients every day, exposing themselves to care for the other. And so, I hope that we can find a way to accommodate these nurses and provide them lodging and provide them an equity of pay. It's nothing short of what we would do if we go to war.
I'm sorry. Valerie Bloss from over at Grand Plaza, they had a package out, and we talked about this for a little bit last week, but where, for like $700, that'll buy you 14, 15, 16 days. I think there's 14 days on, as part of the package, plus a couple of bonus days specifically for those frontline workers so that something like that could be done. It would be very, very easy to be able to take that same pile of money that they're using to host all of these mandatory quarantine people in one hotel and in another hotel, put nurses and doctors that are afraid to take whatever it is that they've been exposed to. They're afraid to take it home. So, go stay in a quarantine facility when you're not otherwise on the job.
Right. And I don't want to put the word afraid to take it home because it's not a matter of fear. I think they're more diligent and they're aware of the risk. And so they want to prevent the risk from getting to their families because they see the direct impact. It's a concern for their families.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Like I said, I bristle at the idea. Senator, I just bristle at the idea that that there are more of our liberties, and you've worn the uniform. I mean, those are the liberties that you've sworn to uphold and protect. I'm willing to do my part, but it's got to make sense. And sometimes I look at some of these proposals that they've got going out there and putting checkpoints together and fines of $5,000. The possibility that I might go to jail for doing something that this week is still legal. Really?
Well, I don't wholly believe in those things, and so I understand where your frustration would be. I believe that we need to start finding better solutions for our people rather than fining them enormous amounts of money for not complying with certain rules. And so at least we can agree on that.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, it's all, you know what? It's been this. My favorite thing in my life has been disagreeing with Nelsons. Starting with Teddo, and every once in a while your grandfather and grandmother. It's been one of my favorite things. I'm so glad that we get a chance to do this now. I've just taken a look at and seen a couple of things, and yeah, you're sending paperwork up the chain of command, but it isn't going to do anything until the legislature actually gets into some kind of session. Are you working with the speaker to get something going eventually, so that we can decide on just how much authority the legislature is going to abdicate to the governor's office in the forms of these fines and penalties, but on some of the other proposals that have been suggested and proposed by your colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans, to put some money in people's pockets. I mean, suspend the what is it, the territorial, what is the tax on liquid fuels. We could suspend that because there ain't any work getting done on the roadways right now, number one. Number two, we could suspend and maybe make it permanent the tax on food and medicine. Those are the two things that people need the most now, and the government shouldn't be making 5% off of it.
Right. And so I'm working with our colleagues to try to get us into session. I've been advocating for session since the beginning, that this has happened since March 10th. I've been asking for session. Publicly, I've made it known about March 15th that we need to go into session, address these problems in the front, so we're not trying to wrap everything together in the middle. And this is exactly what we're doing now, is we're trying to put these things into place in the middle, and it becomes a little bit more difficult because of the virus. And so some of my colleagues are reluctant to come into a physical session, and so it's a matter of us coming into an agreement that, to hold virtual session or a hybrid session where some of us who would want to be in the session hall. Because some of my colleagues also take care of their parents who are elderly. They also have pre-existing health conditions. And so, I'm under the same circumstances as them in some ways, but I'd like to be there physically in session. But that's a decision of 8 or more. And so it's very difficult to get a consensus. I don't know. I don't know when we're going to call a session. It's just very frustrating that to come into. We have to all find a way to compromise, and it's difficult when we try to focus on the issue. And it's just.
And the first issue that you have to deal with is how we're going to get together. Completely understand. But at some point, and this is where it's going to take some degree of leadership, skill, and courage. Somebody has got to push a button and make it so. Otherwise, this is doing nothing but fueling our conversation on a part-time legislature. I mean, if in the height of this crisis and in the height of this emergency, where we've got different voices, agree or disagree with them, clamoring for some kind of legislative activity, and there's nothing happening out of the legislature, then why do we need a full-time legislature? That's an argument.
It's coming from both parties. It's coming from both parties. Okay, so it's kind of like, let's move forward and let's work for the people. Even though we're not in session, we have been working diligently to produce bills. We've been working diligently to reach out to our constituents, to write in the governor about the needs of the people. And so we are continuing to work. It's not like we're just hanging out and doing absolutely nothing. We are working very hard to ingest all the constituent cases. I'm talking to people every day till like 8 o'clock in the evening about their concerns, hearing the plight of our people. So we are continuing to work. It's a matter of
Well, I know, and just to keep fighting with you, I do the same thing. I talk to people all day long, but I'm not a senator. It doesn't do anybody. It doesn't do anybody any good until at least 8 of you get together and start passing laws and sending them up to Adelaide.
Right.
So,
right. I agree with you, and we have been advocating. A small handful of us have been advocating for session from the beginning of this coronavirus and the governor's executive order, and so. We're continuing the good fight. We're being persistent to advocate for session, trying to encourage my colleagues to come to a middle ground. I believe there's a middle ground, hopefully today, and we can move forward. It's just very difficult when we have very independent minds within the 15 of us. And so, and they're very knowledgeable and they're very smart. And so it's kind of difficult to.
Wait, which ones are you talking about?
Kind of
wait, hold on.
I'm not mentioning my colleagues by name.
Because there's some of them. I swear, Talena, there's some of your colleagues I swear are insane. And but anyway, I'm going to let you go because I got the news coming up. I appreciate your time and I appreciate the effort that you continue to put in. I can hardly wait until we get session again.
All right, thanks, Uncle Ray.
All right,
and bring your petition by so that we can sign it.
Yeah, and next time come into the studio so we can wrestle live.
And we want your petition so that we can sign it for your reelection.
See it pretty soon.
Thank you, Auntie Mana.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Certainly will. 7:58 and change. 888-825-5888 TALK is the telephone number around here. Senator Talena Nelson reaching out, wanting to talk about some of the issues that she has had on her front burner for some time, and to the degree that you might have disagreed with him, I did. When she came out, and you roll the tape, when she came out and said that we needed to stop the airplane rides coming in from Guam and seal off the island.
Boy, I say that was a good idea back then, even though I didn't agree with it then.
Exactly. But now, it was a great shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I'll eat crow on that one because
and maybe we could have gotten in front of the curve, but we, at the time, based on the information that we had from the experts. I mean, the same errors were made in Washington, D.C., at the White House and in Congress and in, all kinds of other people that sounded an alarm, but it was just too early for people to hear, and that's all there is to it. 7:59 and change, 888-8255, and again, 988-5874. And if you like, let me know on the memes, and I'll be happy to send you your own personal copy of this, of the guy. Because everybody's asking for it. Joe, do me a favor.
Fast, jail.
There.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
Listen to another radio station besides The Point, jail. Stand by now for Fox News Live.
His condition has worsened. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson now in intensive care, one day after being hospitalized for COVID-19.
Boris Johnson is still in charge of the UK, despite being hospitalized with coronavirus. The 55-year-old Prime Minister was admitted yesterday for tests after struggling with the illness for the last 10 days. He was admitted to hospital hours after Queen Elizabeth II gave a rare address to the nation, offering support to the country and promising it would rise to the challenge. The 93-year-old Queen acknowledged the suffering that many families have experienced and offered these words of hope.
While we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
Britain has no formal succession plan should the Prime Minister become incapacitated, but Johnson has asked Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab to deputize for him. President Trump at the White House task force briefing moments ago offered words of encouragement to the Prime Minister, calling him a good friend and saying the U.S. is offering help to his doctors. At his daily coronavirus update, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo saying New Yorkers are doing a good job in obeying recommendations, but they must continue.
We still have to extend New York pause because if that curve is turning, it's turning because the rate of infection is going down. One of the reasons the rate of infection is going down is because social distancing is working. We have to continue the social distancing.
He added, we underestimate the virus at our own peril. There are 130,000 cases of the virus in New York State, the highest in the country. The number of cases worldwide has surpassed 1.3 million, with over 72,000 deaths. America is listening to Fox News.
Let Chili's To Go do the cooking for you. Open to satisfy your cravings for delicious burgers, tacos, and ribs, or feed the whole family with all-in-one platter offerings. We're all in this together. Receive a 20% discount on all regular to-go orders. Call 648-7377 to place an order. Chili's will bring your food up to you curbside. Visit Chili's Guam on Facebook and Instagram for more info. Chili's, you can still savor the moment at home.
Social distancing math. Tossie is infected with COVID-19. She still goes out because she and her friends think it doesn't affect them. Tossie infects 3 friends. Each one infects 3 more. In 30 days, 244 people are infected, including someone's Nana. Most recover, but Nana dies. Reduce your social contact. If you only infect 1 person, in 30 days, the virus spreads to only 4 people. Stay home, stop the spread, save lives.
Wyoming Republican Senator John Barrasso defending the decision by Governor Mark Gordon to not have a statewide lockdown.
In Wyoming, people are really staying home. I mean, if you go to the grocery store, people are wearing masks, keeping distances. There are special hours set up for seniors. But it is a state where neighbors help neighbors, and we're going to continue to do it that way.
Barrasso appearing on Fox and Friends. The stay-at-home order in Wyoming is only in effect in parts of the state. A new report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on COVID-19 in children suggests while the illness usually isn't severe in kids, some do get sick enough to require hospitalization. Lady Gaga and the advocacy group Global Citizen have raised $35 million to fight the virus and launch a TV special that'll include Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, and Billie Eilish. The special, called One World Together at Home, will air April 18th on several major networks and will also stream on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms. The nation's highest court denies a bid by a Catholic church to put ads on public buses.
The Supreme Court denied an appeal from a Catholic church in Washington, D.C. that was prohibited from placing religious-themed ads on public buses. By rejecting that appeal, a federal appeals court ruling stays in place. That panel found no problem with the transit agency's policy banning issue-oriented advertisements. Justice Brett Kavanaugh did not take part in the consideration because he was a member of the lower court who heard the appeal before he joined the Supreme Court. If not for that complication, Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote, the Supreme Court's intervention and reversal would have been warranted. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A Canadian company has started construction on the Keystone XL pipeline despite calls from Native American tribe leaders and environmentalists to delay the $8 billion project amid the pandemic. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Guam is home to strong and resolved people. As an island, we regularly deal with the destructive forces of nature together. We at Security Title know that when the storm passes, our families and neighbors will join together to clear the debris, to barbecue whatever is thawing in our freezers, and get back to the business of wholeheartedly living our lives. As our island struggles with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, let us remember that this too shall pass.
Cocoa Coffee Company is now available at Circle K. Single origin coffee beans carefully sourced and locally roasted to give you the freshest cup of coffee Guam has to offer. Grab a cup that's brewed every 30 minutes or purchase a bag of the locally roasted whole beans. Flavors now serving: light medium roasted Ethiopia and medium dark roasted Jamaican Blue Mountain. Exclusively available at Circle K. With every Cocoa Coffee Company purchase, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the Cocoa Recovery Program.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Off today, it's 8:06. I'm Mana Silva Tyron with a look at your local news from the Guam Daily Post. The message has been, think about Nana, as the elderly had been said to be the most vulnerable to the coronavirus. Now it's becoming clear that the virus doesn't have prejudice and it affects the old and the young. Yesterday, Public Health telling of 6 children falling victim to COVID-19, the youngest being a 1-year-old child. The other children range in age between 10 to 19. Public Health Director Linda DeNorsi saying that the 1-year-old was infected due to a household contact. The director didn't say whether the children are in the same family, but did note that the other 5 children likely were infected by household contacts, recent travel, and one from a family event. Yesterday, 38 samples were taken with 17 people testing positive. That was from the day before. 1 was tested positive yesterday, bringing the number to 113. The number of confirmed cases is 25. 113 of confirmed cases, and 25 people have recovered. Meanwhile, the local government's COVID-19 count doesn't include the sailors from the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt. The number of sailors who tested positive at last count was 155. It was also confirmed yesterday in national news that the fired captain of the carrier also tested positive for COVID-19. The carrier is being sanitized, and close to 3,000 sailors are now being housed in quarantine in Guam hotels. Guam's public health officials expect to release more details of their probe into the COVID cases tied to the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church in Guam and in Saipan. 7 of the church's members have tested positive for COVID-19. District Minister Noel Gasman confirmed to the Guam Daily Post that there are no reports of COVID-19 cases among congregations in the other islands except for Guam, and there was a death related to the Saipan church. Gasman said that the church stopped chapel gatherings a few days before Governor Leon Guerrero issued her first order on social distancing. Well, the governor over the weekend extended the public health emergency through May 5th, and until then, the government agencies and businesses are to remain closed. At the same time, people are told to stay home. This has resulted in the Department of Education calling off classes for the rest of the school year. Superintendent John Fernandez informed board members of his decision yesterday. He says it will not impact the grab-and-go meals, which will continue through May 28th, which was the actual end of the school year. More news after this.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. I know you love our KFC shrimp burger, so I'm bringing it back, along with our one-of-a-kind shrimp and crab Kellogg's. Take a break from your usual fish fillet sandwich and try our big selection of KFC seafood items. And, of course, we cannot forget your one and only favorite KFC original recipe chicken, too. Hurry in this Lenten season. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
It appears pay issues have begun to surface among Government of Guam workers amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Vice Speaker Tilena Nelson wrote to Governor Leon Guerrero over the weekend, reminding executive leadership to ensure essential employees are compensated during the emergency period. Nelson says under Guam law and the Department of Administration's personnel rules and regulations, employees providing essential services during a state of emergency are to be paid at double the regular rate, or granted compensatory leave credits for hours they've worked. She says the essential employees currently carrying out essential operations include nurses, doctors, social workers, healthcare providers, and hospital staff and support staff, along with police officers, firefighters, customs officers, correction officers, and public safety personnel, and many more. She says the frontline workers need to be better compensated. The union is urging cooperation at this time and is also pledging assistance after the public health emergency has ended. Nelson says that she would work with the governor to ensure essential employees are properly compensated. Now, she says she's introduced a number of bills that would address compensation and relief for residents and continues to urge the Speaker of the Legislature to call for session to address those bills that have been introduced. Meanwhile, Delegate Mike St. Nicholas offered a couple of options to get people the much-needed pandemic relief money. In a conference call yesterday, he offered the use of $10 million in anticipated advance war claim payment reimbursement from the federal government. Senators would still need to reappropriate the use of the $10 million once the GovGuam receives it. He says his proposals will either need the government of Guam's retirement fund or private banks to front the relief assistance payments. Senators will also need to pass legislation to authorize banks to participate in the program. The Speaker of the legislature was part of that conference call, but has not said when or if she will call session. And there is a water outage affecting the entire village of Agate. Crews are working on that main break, and they expect to have water restored between 8 and 10 hours. And those are your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now's Ray with your weather.
I'm just going to ad-lib this because it's the same every day. It's partly cloudy skies, maybe some isolated light showers, daytime highs about 88 degrees. Overnight lows should be about 77 degrees, about the same thing for today. The important part is sunset tonight. Sun, they can't take that away. They cannot take that away. 6:33 for your sunset configuration here tonight. So watch out for all of that stuff. And now with the information on the supermoon, here's real Joe Cruz.
Oh.
What? You said
All right, okay.
Is it a supermoon or is it a pink moon?
It's a pink supermoon, also known as a super pink moon. Now the moon isn't really going to look pink. Traditionally,
it was gorgeous this morning. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
It was a beautiful, almost full moon this morning.
Reflecting off the ocean, it was amazing.
And traditionally, it's called a pink moon because it's marked the blooming of a moss pink, which is a wildflower in the eastern U.S.
Okay, so it's not pink. It's like we think Cinco de Mayo's is Mexican independence, and it's not. Okay.
Okay, so the supermoon is also called perigee syzygy. Syzygy means when 3 or more celestial bodies are aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And perigee happens when the moon is closest to the earth. So when a moon is full or close to perigee, we call it a supermoon.
So it's going to be, we're at perigee this weekend, right?
No, that's supposed to be tomorrow night.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, it's happening Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
But we're a day ahead, so that'll be tomorrow for us.
Oh, right on. So everybody needs to be out looking at the moon tomorrow night.
Yes. So this is going to make the moon appear 7% bigger and 15% brighter than the typical full moon. And the super moon will be biggest and brightest of the year.
Okay, now, you know what happens if you don't watch the super moon? Go to jail.
Oh,
gotta go to jail.
Straight to jail.
Everybody needs to get out there and watch the thing. 8:13 in the morning. Yeah, what the hell? I'm gonna play it again. I'm sorry, I can't get enough. Somebody's gonna say, "Don't you have anything else that you can play besides the guy?"
No, we don't.
No, yeah, well, actually, I do, and I'll play it in a second. But here's the go to jail guy.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
Right away, right away. He says chicken wrong.
Chicken.
All right, now you're going, okay, Ray, you played that a dozen times. It's not funny anymore. Shut up, it is. It is. I don't care what you say. It is funny. But I got this one here from Shell, and I know 2 or 3 moms that can really. 2 or 3 moms that can definitely relate. Sitting around the house, you can't go to work, the kids can't go to school or daycare, and this is what it's like.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do so
Now, Real Joe's laughing because number one, that's what it sounds like at his house, and and number 2, we got a couple of callers like that.
Yes,
we got a couple of guys call the radio station. I swear to God, this is what it sounds like.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do so you could.
It hurts. My sides hurt. My sides are hurting. Where were we? 8:15. What am I supposed to do now? Do I throw to a break? Okay. I'll be right back. I will give you the hours of what time First Hawaiian Bank is going to be opening. And I'll tell you why this is important, because apparently nobody does online banking. Is it me? Have you passed by? I was getting home. I was going home yesterday, and
Coast 360?
There's it must have been Coast 360 or First Hawaiian. One of the two banks down the street.
Yeah.
Traffic was backed up in Teason. On the new Parkway and the new Magahaga, it was
into
backing
Coast.
up there.
I saw it. It was ridiculous.
Right, and the same thing happened over the weekend, guys.
And then Bank of Guam was also backing up.
They have apps. You can get apps.
What is going on?
You don't have to have a stamp on everything. Just, you know what, do the online thing. Park the car over at Payless Walk.
I think a lot of people are afraid to learn how to use online banking or security.
Well, I'm not touching the ATM machine.
You can even deposit checks
that's
online now. You take a picture of the check.
Take a picture of the check. No, so I'm trying to figure out why everybody is. Are you all going and withdrawing your life savings or something? Are you going to stick it under the mattress? What's going on? Anyway, 8:16 in the morning. So that's what's going on. I'll give you the numbers for First Hawaiian in just a second.
One of the easiest ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Let this message help you time it. Start soaping up now. If you're sick or caring for someone who is, wear a surgical mask or N95 respirator when you're around others. If you're not sick, wear a washable cloth face covering in case you're an asymptomatic carrier. Don't touch the front of the mask and always remove it from the back. When you cough or sneeze, use a tissue or your upper sleeve, not your hands. Choice Broadcasting reminds you to stay safe and stay clean. You can rinse now.
As we stand up to coronavirus by standing back with social distancing, Bank Pacific reminds you that you can come to the bank without going to the bank. Use many of our other delivery platforms like online banking at bankpacific.com, accessing cash at our ATMs, shopping with our debit cards. For businesses, we have secure cash and check drop windows, and we are employing a new smarter mobile app with remote deposit capture in the next few weeks. We're all in this together, and together we will win. Bank Pacific. Brothers but branches, we place roots. Member FDIC.
Thank you, Phil. Have a day, Guam. Stay home and keep safe. And if you have to go and be out, good enough reason to go out is go to Wendy's. They are ready to serve you affordable meals and great tasting drinks and fries. Drive-through only, FYI. The real deal for value and variety is at Wendy's. Ray Gibson Show, also brought to you by APL. American President Line.
Coconut Wireless is back.
Faster.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Global presence with a local home. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to squeeze all of that stuff out there. 8:18 in the morning, see you can hear real Joe laughing. What are we giggling about now? Just
I'm spazzed. I spazzed out.
Did you? Okay. Now what is it? Albert was showing you something. What was that?
He went to Wendy's.
Oh, he went to Wendy's.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Okay. All right.
He listens to your show.
But what else is in there? Because that's a small bag considering there's 4 of us.
He closed his door real fast.
Split now, yeah. Not listening to the rest of this. Well, it could be worse. It could be worse. Hold me to that thought in a second. Am I done? I'm just talking now. I'm out in the cold. I can just go where. Okay, so here's the numbers. I got this from my friend Barb over at First Hawaiian and says, can you tell everybody when the bank is open? Yes, First Hawaiian Bank is open at 9 until 4. All 3 branches, just about every day. 9 to 4. On Fridays, they'll be open until 6 because it's Friday, and we all need money for goofing off on the weekend, right? Hitting the club, going to the bar, doing the karaoke, barbecue with your family and friends. Oh, wait. Not allowed to do any of that. But they'll be open until 6 o'clock for all of your banking needs, and 9 until 1 on Saturdays for Dededo and the Tamuning location. So 9 to 1 in Dededo and Tamuning. I guess they're going to mothball and sanitize the mighty location. And so what is it that everybody is doing? Are you getting? Because it's bizarre to me. I pass by these banks, right? I pass by the banks, and I'm going, what's the rush? Where's everybody going?
They need cash for the. Well, maybe for the delivery, the food delivery.
Well, maybe there's some of that where we need to be thinking in those terms. As resilient as they say everybody is, it's possible that all of those cars are actually people going to get money from the bank so that they can go and buy groceries, so that they can go and put gasoline in the car, or so they can go and hit the hardware store and do whatever repairs that they're going to be doing while we've got these coronavirus times. I mean, I'm just assuming that it's just everybody gallivanting daunting, and I don't want to stick around the house. I got to run by the bank anyway. Might as well, here's a line to get into, right? So why are you in line? I don't know. Is this the grab and go line?
Quarantining in line.
I'm quarantined. Yeah, there's that. So maybe that's what the big deal is. Now the other thing, when we were talking with Senator Telena. And she's, trying to come up with ideas on how we might be able to do things and make things better for members of the community. Is there something that we can do with the first responders? Can we put them in some nice hotels? And the answer is, yeah, we can. Apparently in Hawaii, James Howard says in Hawaii, that's what they're doing with some of the frontline people, nurses, doctors, things like that don't necessarily want to take whatever it is that they've got home with them. So they're quarantining themselves away from their family and friends in other locations, like hotels. If they can do it there, we can do it here. At some point, we're going to run out of the mandatory quarantined guests that we've got, people that found themselves on these flights coming in from the Philippines that got themselves mandatory quarantine. In fact, I've got a note from Brad Rosala in Saipan. They're releasing their first batch of their mandatory quarantine people. So there's going to be some hotel rooms opening up, and it's possible that the governor might ask you, can we put some nurses here? I'm sorry, there's a thought in my head about, well, if the hotels are all full, I've got a couple of rooms over at my place for some of the nurses if you need someplace to go. 8:20, but I'm not going to say that. Now, the other thing was, and I thought it was interesting, Telen had also brought up the idea of maybe for people, if it comes to bullets and we really got to worry about people getting food, we can give them meals ready to eat.
I like that idea.
MREs. Have you ever eaten an MRE?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Real Joe?
Constipation.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what everybody on Facebook Live, all you can tell all the guys that have ever been in the service, because they're like, oh yeah, MRE, good idea. You better chew the gum.
It comes with about this much toilet paper in there.
There's a
little
tiny
packet of toilet paper, so you're not going to need it because you'll be constipated.
No, because it's protein dense, right? That's the thing about it. It's just super protein dense, and so you're. I mean, the idea is you keep yourself, as I don't know, healthy as possible, and you've got all these proteins that are surging through your body. But my understanding is that in the beginning, it takes a while for your body to adjust to all of that additional protein that is in there, and all these other, I guess, clean eating things that your body's not used to, and so part of the getting used to process is things will be plugged up for a while. So Ismail, I think it was Ismail that was saying, you got to remember to chew the gum. It's not just gum; it's like an X-Lax gum. The idea, exactly. The idea is it would, I don't know, lubricate the process.
Ray, would you like a piece of gum?
So there you go. And I'd heard the thing before, because it's not the first time in my career being in talk radio where somebody had brought up the idea, and it might have been SARS before, it might have been something else where we were talking about having to feed a mass number of people at the same time. And so the idea was floated around about, well, just give them meals ready to eat. Can you imagine the stockpiles that they must have in the military of these MREs? And the thing is, apparently, their MREs that can last, the shelf life of these things is measured not in years, but in decades. So it's possible that, there might be MREs that go back to what, Vietnam?
There are people that break out the World War I and World War II ones and try to eat them to see if they'd still taste good, or there's people open up the real old ones just to try them out.
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm brave if I was looking at my ranch dressing that I've gotten. Apparently, I've got to make it through my ranch dressing, but before the end of April, and I could swear I just bought that bottle. But it's ranch.
Is the fitted any that I made for Christmas still in your fridge?
It probably is. It probably is.
That's still good.
Okay,
Yeah,
so here's another one. So I've got some taco octopus kelaguen that I made, and it's been sitting in the vinegar for a long time.
I don't know.
You don't know. Feed it to the cat.
No.
Feed it to the cat. If the cat comes back, okay, you can eat it. If the cat doesn't come back, then you get a new cat and throw the octopus out. Rico Blankenflor says, good morning, comrades. Show me a pepas. MREs, C rations, T rations, Ismail is saying. Jose Martinez says they make a different kind for emergency services. Packaged like MREs, but not quite MREs. All right, that's good to know. Nephew R.D. Gibson is online. Jose Martinez, calories, heavy on carbs. They make MRE like relief food. MREs are heavy on carbs. Is it carbs or the protein? Joey Toba says, "Oh no, MREs! There goes your digestive system." See, this is the one thing that we can all apparently agree on is that MREs sounds like a great idea, but we're gonna have to work some things and literally work some things out once in the application. Juan Carlos Benitez online. Rudy Magallanes. The only thing with online banking, you do it fast and it's done. When you're in line, you have people to talk to, and the pretty girl that is a teller. I understand what you're talking about, Rudy. We were raised by Uncle Joe, and I think everybody's got an Uncle Joe somewhere in their family. And our
Uncle Joe loves you.
Uncle Joe loves you. Uncle Joe, he relished going on errands. He loved going. He loved doing the banking run. He loved doing the Treasure of Guam run. If somebody else did it, that ruined his day. And the reason was because he liked to go and flirt with the pretty girls over at the bank, and he knew every pretty girl in every bank there was on Guam, and the post office, and the old administration building, and that's a habit that's got on me as well. Octopus makes cat's hair fall out, according to Shelley. Octopus makes cat hair fall out. I thought it was turtle that makes dog's hair fall out.
Oh, I thought it puts hair on your chest.
No. Anyway, so we'll get around to that. Howard, 8:27, before I'm all done, have you gotten anything in the mail recently?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Letters, bills. I got a birthday gift.
You don't have to pay any of the
I
bills.
picked up an Amazon box for one of
Did
the
you?
kids.
So
Yeah.
you got something? Amazon?
That was last week.
Okay. And
the
my
line was quick.
My
very
Stitch
fast.
Fix came in, but they delivered that here. So the reason I'm asking,
And I'm still getting envelopes.
I'm getting pictures of stuff that I've got in the mail at one of my mail repository places. So it's still coming in is the thing. So good work to the guys and Tammy and her crew over at the post office. Great job keeping all of that stuff in, and then getting it delivered is the thing. How are things like that getting shipped around? And I'm kind of curious because I made an order. It's 8:28. As some of you may know, I'm the biggest nerd that you know. It might not.
Oh, we all know.
It might not come off on the video here in the program where you're listening and you say, wow, this guy's a really cool talk radio guy, is reasonably good looking, and he's got his Tommy Hilfiger and his collar's popped. But beneath that thin veneer, I'm a nerd. And one of my nerd toys, I took it out of mothballs, and there's a lesson to be learned, guys. When the instructions say take out the batteries before you store it, take out the batteries before you store it. I had a Garrett 150 metal detector.
Oh.
Wait, what kind of battery?
I like this.
It had,
it was the AAA batteries, right? And two AA batteries. And I put the thing in the closet, and I put new batteries in and put the thing in the closet, and then promptly forgot about it. And I went into it this weekend thinking, oh, this will help me kill some time. I'll go and I'll use my metal detector on a variety of these abandoned beaches and see if I can dig riches out of the sand. And
wedding
so
rings.
Wedding rings, Rolex watches.
Necklaces.
You know what? When I was first doing it with the kids, it was one of my favorite stories. I'd get Mason and Mayumi out there on the beach, and we'd do the metal detecting, and so dig something out of the ground, and if it was a nickel, the kids would lose their minds. Oh my God, we found money! Mom, there's money! We found money! Quick, bring the metal detector over here and let's dig something. See what oh, it's a penny! Oh my God, there's a penny! These kids would just freak out over 6 cents, and it was so cute. It was so cute, and I'm disappointed because I'm not finding diamond rings and wedding rings and and Rolex watches and Civil War coins. What's going on here? Why is everybody else find this stuff but not me? But the kids, just satisfied with the idea that. So I opened up the thing, and the batteries leaked into the circuit board. Yeah. And even the electronics nerd in me couldn't get that sorted out, and so I ordered a new one. I've ordered a new one, and according to Amazon, it's shipped. And now I'm kind of curious as to how long in these coronavirus 19 days, how long will it take to get from the store where I eventually bought it from to me here on Guam? And the answer is I don't know.
You don't have a tracking number?
Well, there's a tracking number, and like I said, it says that it was picked up by the post office, so it's in transit.
It's in transit.
But what does in transit mean? Sometimes in transit means, hey, welcome to the hell that is Richmond, where your boxes. And there was a picture I saw. Boxes. They've got the cargo is coming in, but there's all of this sorting that needs to get done, and because there's Corona-19, nobody's going to the post office to check their mail as often as they did before.
That was at the local post office where they were saying that there's mountains of boxes that are being stored here. Come and get your packages if you're expecting one.
Ismael Velez says, Civil War coins on Guam? I'm just saying. My God, when did you start taking me at my literal word? When did that happen? Chris Biachino says, I got a package from New York in 4 days. Oh, the American coronavirus capital is in New York. I hope you Lysoled it down. Patrick Bumba's there, Ron and Cindy De La Rosa, Carl L.G. Blas saying, Hoffaday Ray and the crew. What's that? James Howard's talking. It says, Ray, that guy on the beach with the detector. Ha! Oh, Ray's that guy on the beach with the detector. I love those guys. Always helpful and have stories about stuff that they've found in the ocean. Mark Cruz says, my mask filters from eBay took 5 days. All right. Well, that's hopeful. Carlos Barreto got my order a week earlier than usual. Big Sister Shelley says, I got stuff in 7 days from Amazon, but my new earbuds won't get here until the 28th. Like Apple earbuds?
Maybe it's from a third-party seller.
Well, so I'm wondering. This is where we are, and I'm just thinking out loud. We're knee deep in the Ray Gibson stream of consciousness, so I might as well drown in it. So there's all of this stuff now at Kmart we can't buy. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying there's a metal detector back there, but there is all of this stuff over at Kmart that somebody decided was not essential, and so they've blocked that off. So does that mean all of the rest of the stuff that the government of Guam, that our nannies don't believe is essential, will have to bring in from the States? Right? We're going to have to, there's going to have to be orders from Walmart and ordering stuff through Amazon.com or anybody else that we can get shipped to Guam, because there are things that we want, but the government says they're not essential. Mm-hmm. So you can't have that. We want you only to go in and get groceries and prescription medication. That's it. That's the only reason to be out. So I'm wondering if that will become part of our new normal, considering we've got another month of this. Take today's date and take that all the way through the 5th of May. Between here and there, all of a sudden, well, it takes 7 days to get something from Amazon? Mm-hmm. Okay. I got 7 days. I got several sections of the month now that are 7 days. So my guess is, as long as the post office is still functioning, as long as they're getting cargo to Guam, as long as they're getting air freight to Guam, there's no reason why some of those non-essentials that the governor doesn't want you to have, we'll start getting from the States, which is GRT, more GRT, the government of Guam is not going to get.
Oh. Speaking of mail, I know some people that put their mail in the microwave when they take it home. They think it's going to kill the virus.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. 7 days, any virus, even if somebody sneezed on it in the States, I'm sure by the time it got here, it would probably be dead. Now, there's another companion story. It's only 8:34. You're not going anywhere. So there's a story about, and I wanted to tell you this yesterday, about all of the different airline companies that we've got in the United States of America that aren't selling airplane seats anymore. And so they are now in the cargo business. Airlines like United, Southwest, Delta, American, they're not ferrying people. There's no more butts in chairs. So they've taken the seats out of the airplanes and configured them so that they can hold pallets. And so that's what's happening now. And there's a whole bunch of them. Each pallet of cargo makes up for lost passenger revenue in the cabin above, where only a skeleton crew of required pilots and flight attendants will stay. So even though you're ferrying cargo, they still have flight attendants up there. I guess somebody's got to take care of the party with the pilots. And what is it? Using its Boeing 787 Dreamliner aircraft, Virgin has been flying cargo-only flights across its network to cities as close as New York and as far away as Shanghai to bring supplies to the United Kingdom's National Health Service. Like in many industries affected by COVID-19, airlines are adapting to the new conditions brought on by this crisis, while also helping fight the virus through new cargo-only flights. United deployed two of its largest aircraft for the task, one being the 787 Dreamliner, operated cargo-only flights, flying its first from Chicago to Frankfurt, the route typically popular among travelers, as Chicago is known for its ancestral ties to Germany, and Frankfurt, an international hub for United Star Alliance partner Lufthansa. But they aren't flying people there anymore, so it's all cargo back and forth. United stated on March 22nd, it would be flying 40 cargo flights per week, carrying COVID-19 necessities as well as military mail. So the next time you are looking over at Tiedzen and see a United flight coming in, it may not have anybody on board beside one or two flight attendants and the crew up in the front. It might be carrying my metal detector. So speed it along. It's 8:36 in the morning, and we've got your last look at headlines and Yak with Montesilva Tyrant coming up next.
Easiest ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Let this message help you time it. Start soaping up now. The coronavirus can't survive and multiply without a host, so don't give it that chance, especially if you're more susceptible to serious complications. Groups at higher risk include the elderly, those with impaired immune systems or asthma, or who are pregnant. Practice proper social distancing by staying 6 feet away from others. Choice Broadcasting reminds you to stay safe and stay clean. You can rinse now.
Hafide, this is Kayla from APL Guam. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated team in Guam and the U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit apl.com.
All right, one of my cop buddies says Ray, MREs were introduced in the early 80s. You know, by crazy coincidence, so was I. C rations were the warrants from World War II to 1980, and then he says, "Do you want one? Do I want an MRE?" Huh?
I think they want to see you eat one on the show.
I have one at my house too.
Or do it an opening, an unboxing, if you will.
An unboxing of an MRE,
and see what's in there.
Bring it by the radio station. But right now, because I'm leaving at 10:05.
I want to watch you eat it.
Get around it. Well, you're going to be leaving soon, so he'll Tom bring it by, and then we'll see what happens. We'll unbox it and see if we can eat it tomorrow.
So eat it today, and I'll see if you're.
But how will I now? What kind of what flavors do they come in?
I think there's different types of meals. Like I don't know. There's like pot roast or
beef
stew.
Beef shank.
Kelaguen wrap.
Tanak.
I've tried. It was almost like an ice cream or something, but it was a Neapolitan, and I don't remember. This was years
dehydrated
ago.
ice cream or something like that?
It was dehydrated ice cream, and it was Neapolitan, and I thought it was so delicious. I don't remember any side effects from it, but I just remember it was really good.
Yeah, well, maybe that part of it was, but I mean, all of the rest of it. So you got a little thing of toilet paper and Tabasco, right? I mean, it comes in as
sometimes the Tabasco's in there. Yeah.
What about the dessert? See, now
sometimes there's dehydrated fruits.
Okay, I'm going to check with the guys on the WhatsApp and the Facebook Live and see what they've got to say about what if I'm getting an MRE, what should I ask for? And the other question that I have is anybody out here among the hardcore preppers, anybody that is watching into the program here this morning that has bought any of those like MREs things, like on the Coast to Coast show at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're running ads, for these Patriots, whatever, and they'll send you every month. You'll get a box from these guys, and it's a box of we got dehydrated water, and we've got cans of dessert.
What do you use to rehydrate the?
You just pour water in. But you get that, and so But the idea is that you build a stockpile.
Those are those preppers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So somebody online has done that, and I'm dying to find out. James Howard. Dying to find it. Send me pictures of it. All right, so if you do me a favor. All right, here's the deal. 988-5874, 988-5874. That's a WhatsApp line. Send me pictures of if you've got it. Then send me pictures of your stockpile, whether it's one that you've picked up from one of these online services, or send me pictures of the stockpile that you've put together. Now, don't put anything in there that has your name or might be able to give me an indication of where you are, because there's going to be thugs watching going, I'm totally breaking into this guy's house. I'm going to be looking at all that spam. Oh, my God, the corned beef. And he's got
the toilet paper.
And he's got the good corned beef, right? Oxan palm. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Our last look at news and headlines now from the Guam Daily Post with Montecillo Tyron.
113 confirmed cases of coronavirus on Guam. There are 6 children included in those numbers. The youngest is a year-old. Public Health is also investigating a cluster of individuals who've tested positive who attend the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church. Public Health will disclose later today the villages that have been linked to those patients. And DOE will determine how they'll hold a graduation for students. But as for classes, all have been canceled for the remainder of the school year. School Administrator John Fernandez says the decision was made amidst the coronavirus and the governor's extended public health emergency, which will last through May 5th. And a couple of options have been given to expedite the release of pandemic relief funds, and Congressman Mike St. Nicholas says his proposals will need legislative action. No word from the Speaker, though, on if or when she'll call session to address the proposal. And those are your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, you can pick up a copy of the paper or log on to the website at postguam.com.
So I got from a buddy of mine, John Thomas, a story. One of the things that we've been basically pointing as much fun and trying to embarrass the people over at the legislature as possible is the idea that they're going to abdicate certain of their authorities to the governor's office and allow the governor to figure out, who's going to be worthy of stopping and applying these fines and penalties for, right? $1,000 at $5,000 a head, for an infraction, up to including a year in jail for breaking the governor's rule on social distancing and things like that. And you might be thinking that there's certainly other places where they have enacted those kind of penalties, and the answer is yeah. John Thomas says in New York City they've got social distance violations, but in New York City their fines for the social distance violations, first of all, we start with a warning. We're not going to, you run up and there's Ray Gibson drinking, his Budweiser beer at Epal Beach the Governor Joseph Flores Memorial Park, a.k.a. Epal Beach, on Sunset. That's supposed to be against the rules. So if one of the yellow shirts or an actual GPD officer comes up to me, it would start with a warning. And then if he came back the next night and I was there the next night again, then things would escalate. But even in New York, Bill de Blasio says they're only talking about fines starting at $250.
Oh wow!
They top out at $500. Never mind $1,000. Never mind $5,000. Right? And as far as I know, it doesn't say anything about getting anybody thrown in the slammer for it. Right?
Jail.
Why? Because jail. That's how we're going to deal with this. They're going to send me to jail, and I'm going to get coronavirus.
And do they remove the
What
entire?
are you in for? Not social distancing.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going right to jail.
Do they remove the entire judicial process from these fines and penalties, or
not if they come after me? I will assemble the Avengers of lawyers to take the case on for me. Because frankly, I don't know that anybody that is doing law for those guys over at Adelup over at the legislature have any kind of familiarity with this kind of thing. For 8:44 in the morning, and that's all the time we've got. This iConnect time? Eventually? Right, okay, so it's eventually iConnect time. Swing by there. No, find them online. Their address online is iConnectGuam.com, and if you've got questions about mobile, internet, push-to-talk plans during the COVID times, they're the guys to talk to at iConnectGuam.com.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Portions of the program also being brought to you by the guys over at Take Care. You know, they are a government-sanctioned urgent care facility. So if you are like me and clumsy with the machete and are a bleeder, you might want to think about going there. No, mine actually finally stopped bleeding yesterday. It's
better now.
I hurt myself on Sunday. As GovGuam designated urgent care center, they are there for your urgent medical needs. Not if you're going to die. If you're going to die, go to GMH or GRMC or see if you can finagle the driver to take you up to Navy. But if you're not going to die and it just hurts a lot, then go over to FHP. Open Saturdays through Thursdays, 8 until 6. It's 8:45.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his Smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his Smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his Smile team.
They make smiles happen.
Is there going to be, at 8:46 in the morning. Now, this is my prediction. I'm going to open up the traffic gizmo, and it's going to show me that there's going to be heavy traffic in front of the grocery stores and in front of the banks. Yeah, because there's nobody here that's doing online banking. We must go into the bank and see the teller and get the stamp in our bank book. That's what we've got to do. I'll do everything online. Thank you very much. But yeah, that's basically the only traffic that I'm looking at. Not a whole lot by way of slowing you down. A little bit of intersection traffic in most of the spots. Looks like it's a little bit busy on Marine Corps Drive southbound, making that turn that will take you up around Venue and Pokey Fry. Also a little bit of traffic over in front of the Kapuha Loop, as a matter of fact. Nothing major in front of Navy Hospital, nothing major in front. Oh, yeah, there is something major. They're apparently maybe making some changes to the ins and outs over at Navy and Sumai, and that's got things weirded out coming in from Agate on that roadway over by the Pizza Hut. And then it's meeting up with traffic that is going into and coming out, apparently, of Navy and Sumai. So expect some delays through there. Never mind, basta me. Oh, and everybody's leaving Agate, by the way, because there's no water. So that's the other reason why things are busy, is because nobody wants to be in town if we have basta water. So that's what's going on. 8:47, and that's right now traffic on the point.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
It's the little things, guys. It is the little things. So I was looking around in the backyard for a project over the weekend. I found it. And when you do one project, and I'm sure that this happens to you as well, you get one project going, and then that leads to another project. So I'm looking at the backyard and looking at a couple of old, just mahangy lights that were hanging from the wall. And so I decided get on the road and go and see if I could get some fixtures to replace them. And I did. And it was one of these dusk till dawn deals where it goes on at night. But I installed it during the day, and it wouldn't go on. And I'm freaking out. You know, I got my wire things out, trying to find out there's voltage going to the circuit. And sure enough, there was, and I got a good shock out of it. So I knew that my installation was, for the most part, all right. But the light wouldn't go on, so I thought it was the bulb already burned out or something like that. I came home after sunset last night, and the light was burning bright. Gonna keep the neighbors awake, and so I'm thrilled about that. It's the little things, friends. It's that little victory that you need to keep you going every once in a while. 10 away from the top of the hour. Earlier today, had Congressman Mike Sinicolas on the phone, and he was on the Zoom yesterday with the Speaker of the Legislature and a couple of Republicans, up to and including the protesting Jim Moylan. I don't know if you saw that. Jim Moylan was in front of the legislature yesterday, trying to get some kind of action, some kind of activity out of that body. In fact, I've got a picture of him doing exactly that. He's out there. He's got the sign, and it says holding session to help the employed is not premature, standing right in front of the Guam Congress building, talking about unemployment assistance now. And then, as I said, he was on that conference call. I don't know that of the two things that were discussed, a couple of these plans, how far Congressman is going to be able to go with either of them. It seemed like a tepid response from people in the government talking about, they even said retirement fund. We got to be careful about that. They're very sensitive at the retirement fund about the retirement fund. And then the idea, well, if we can't do that, if we're not going to be able to get these loans worked out through the government of Guam and the retirement fund, then maybe there's something that the actual bankers can do about that. And among the bankers, people that, in the banking commission, I got not the commission, but the association, is Phil Flores from Bank Pacific. Good morning, Phil.
Morning, Ray. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing okay. Near as I can tell, don't have coronavirus. You know what I was thinking?
But Jim Moylan has cornered the market on suntan lotion. I can tell you that.
He needed it yesterday. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And they've cut down all the really good trees over in front of the Congress. It's not like you can get a whole lot of shade in front of the legislature. But I'm glad to see that he's pushing to get the legislature to do something. I just hope that when the legislature does go into session, it will be something more meaningful than trying to apply a $5,000 fine to somebody that has the wrong placard on their car.
Yeah, you're right. I know the speaker. I've spoke to her a couple of times yesterday, and other senators, and I know they're trying to look for a way to help the people of Guam, which is the same thing Delegate San Nicolas is trying to do. But to get to his point, his issue, I know he's in a hurry. He's very well intentioned. But he was in such a hurry to get this idea out. He didn't consult with the governor's office. Didn't consult with Gita, didn't consult with any of the bankers, because the bankers were a pretty close-knit group right now. And none of us is going, oh, yeah, let's do this, because it's logistically impossible. And, I don't like the idea. And, again, maybe I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but he's providing hope to people, and it's really false hope. For us to banking, okay, I saw something in the Post yesterday. It was like 114,000 applications.
Right.
As I said to the speaker, I said, we don't want people in our office now. We're trying to get them to go online. We're trying to go to the ATMs or use their debit or credit cards because you can do it online. And I said, what does that mean? It's not like I'm going on Internet Explorer. You have to have a special portal that you open up. You got to have software that's going to be able to accept an application. Underwrite an application, and if you decline, you have to issue a declination letter that meets consumer rules, and if it's approved, then you have to get your documents together and close the loan. And the wet signature, when someone comes in and signs a loan, we don't want 10,000 people coming in. And of those 10,000 people who would supposedly file that application, I doubt very many of them have a signature capability. So, and then if you're trying to get this, because the checks are going to come out pretty soon. I mean, with the 2 weeks or so, which is hard for somebody who doesn't have a penny in their pocket right now. I agree.
Yeah.
But if we were to get to going, it's going to take us. It's going to take us a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, probably a month. And if you look at 10,000 applications coming in over a week, just 1 week, the math's not that hard. It's 30 times 24 times 60 times 60 comes out to almost 10,000. So if we were to take in 10,000 applications and process and approve or decline and cut checks for those who are approved, that's 1 per minute for a week, 24/7. It's impossible.
So as much as you'd like to help, and as much as it's nice that he's thinking in these terms, in a perfect world, if you had an IT guy that could chug out the application right now, that could, as you point out, there are going to be some things that are going to be required. Here's your online application. Then we have to take a system that will ingest the application. Somebody's got to eyeball it, accept it or decline it, send out the letter, and then if it is accepted, what is the mechanism there that also has to be set up so that I can send you a digital signature and then put it into my account. Oh, wait a second. Do I have an account over there? Maybe that's then the other step that needs to be put together. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying. So by the time you get through this time motion exercise, Tammy and the people over at the post office will be putting checks in people's boxes.
That's exactly right. And even asking Gita with their staff of only 10 or 11 people to go over all the tax returns, which I don't know if they legally are able to look at somebody else's tax returns and are not Revenue Tax or Gita. And that's pretty much what Redmond Tax is doing right now, what Daphne's doing up there in Barragata, or ITC, wherever they are. And so you're duplicating that work. And again, I think Mike was well-intentioned, and I know he's hurried it, which is why he's kind of left some empty spots there that he should have filled or could have filled, and perhaps would have changed his course a little bit, try to make it more reasonable or doable, because it's not doable, unfortunately. And also the banks right now, what are we doing? We're not taking in new applications. We're doing deferments for current customers. We're doing the payment protection plan, which just rolled out on Friday for businesses. And the money going into the businesses doesn't go into the business owner's pocket, the manager's pocket. No. It's designed in a way that it goes to payroll, that you rehire or you keep people on the payroll. And so that gets money into their pockets. And they can somehow, it's not like you can go anywhere and spend money right now anyway, except for Payless. Yeah. And but I can appreciate how much he wants to help our people, but this I don't think this is the right method.
Well, then
I know it's not.
Well, and as you point out, everybody is already busy now. There is a significant amount of pressure being put on just about every bank on Guam now that is capable of being SBA lenders. And that's the other part that I wanted to get to is you are accepting your PPPs, your payment protection applications at this time, correct?
Yes, ourselves and then the other 4 banks too. We're all doing the PPP, and of course it's the applications came in stateside Friday, our time Saturday. But we were already doing applications on Guam on Friday, and then as we slept Friday night, SBA changed the application form, and so it's all very fluid. And so we're kind of going to each other, hey, what do you think about this? And so we're educating each other, and it's coming out. But yeah, we're all very busy with the PPP.
So if somebody turned in an application based on the old form, do they need to turn in a new application, or can you proceed with what was already dropped off?
Just to be safe, we're saying do the new application because we are dealing with somebody thousands of miles away, and they're all going to be pulling their hair out. All these applications coming at the same time. The new application is hardly any different than the previous one, but also there's a form you can sign that kind of this is not going to make sense, but kind of transfers your old application to a new application acceptance. And that's possible. So they're trying to make it as easy as possible.
So
we're getting these out.
What about timelines? I mean, so if I drop off my PPP application today, what's the up down on when there might be some money in the account that my accountant can write payroll on?
I don't know. They're trying to get it out as quickly as possible, but that as quickly as possible, 3 business days, is it a week, is it 10 days? We don't know because we haven't started seeing the checks being disbursed. I do know that Bank of America, there's a story about Bank of America submitted a ton of applications on the first day, and I haven't gone through my emails or my internet this morning to look at trade stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the money starts kicking out this week.
Well, that'd be all right. That'd be all right. It's not a question of whether there's money there or not, or even a question of whether or not somebody's got to make a decision on the credit worthiness of the application. It's just the bureaucracy, the time motion, the technology that needs to get stood up to get all of this stuff done. I think it would be staggering.
And I don't know if it was you said it, but go to your bank. Don't necessarily go to a different bank. Go to a bank where you know the guy or the girl, and eyeball to eyeball and submit your application. You can also submit it electronically, but then you get into the electronic queue. It's better to have to know your banker, and the banker knows you, and he or she can help you out. No, and I want to wait because you say there's a lot of money. The money can run out, although there's talk that they can reappropriate more money.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That was part of the tail end of a conversation that I had with Mike St. Nicholas. Is I know that it's first in, first come first serve, as you said. But if it looks like they're going to start running out of money, then the smart money is that the federal government needs to make sure that employees are taken care of and that these businesses can continue as going concerns. So it wouldn't surprise me if they came out with another round of appropriations to fund these projects. Yeah, because there's just so many people in trouble.
And at first they thought this was only for a short while. It's not a short while. We're in this hopper for unforeseeable future.
The interesting world that we're walking into, and I was looking at some pictures. I was mentioning to Mon earlier. I was looking at some pictures of New Year's Eve and that time period in the last part of 2019 and the first part of 2020. And there's just so much promise and so much potential for 2020, and it looks like it's going to be a year of people trying to tread water. Well, it's nice to have friends.
Ray, I know you're up at the top of the hour. Can I just say one quick thing? And this is on behalf of all of the 5 banks in Guam. If you don't have to come into the office. You can go online for Bank Pacific, just bankpacific.com, and it's bankofguam.com, et cetera, et cetera. If you got a debit or credit card, use that. Your cash is actually good chance it might be dirty. Your debit card, credit card, not. Go to an ATM if you do want cash, and just you can go to, as we say, you can go to the bank without going to the bank.
Exactly. And there's no lines and the online is the other way to look at it. It's just fascinating to see how many people are backed up in traffic on most days trying to get in front of their lending institution one way or the other. And most of the cases, you don't need to. Phil, I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Okay, thanks.
All right, buddy. 9 o'clock in the morning at the radio station KUSG had gotten you. I like that. He was watching the clock, so we're only about a minute late for the Fox News.
Conversation that lasted about 15 minutes. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has ruled Democratic Governor Tony Evers can't postpone tomorrow's presidential primary. Earlier today, Evers signed an executive order moving the election to June over concerns about the pandemic. The court ruling Evers lacked the authority to move the election on his own, meaning it will happen tomorrow as scheduled. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says his state's hospitals are using ventilators beyond their capacity.
We are into using BiPAP machines instead of ventilators. We're into splitting ventilators, turning 2 into 1 with 2 sets of tubes. We are into all backup plans that we had.
There are over 130,000 cases of the virus in New York State, over 72,000 in New York City. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti says he's encouraged by the slowing rate of cases of the virus there, but he warns the city could expand restrictions on public and business activity if the numbers take a turn for the worse. America is listening to Fox News.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Company mugs are now here. Show pride for your island as you enjoy your delicious Circle K coffee. Each generously sized 16-ounce mug is etched with Guam-inspired images like Chief Gadao, Serena, 2 lovers, and many more. The Coco Coffee Company Mug collection is available for a limited time only, so don't miss out. Get yours today and collect them all. Exclusively available at Circle K locations. A portion of the proceeds go toward the Cocoa Bird Recovery Program.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says the state will loan 500 ventilators to the national stockpile for use by New York and other states which need them. Oregon and Washington state have already announced they will transfer ventilators to New York. The Federal Reserve says it will support the government's $349 billion small business lending program, adding it will purchase loans that banks make to small businesses. The program was set up as part of the stimulus package passed late last month. The loans can be forgiven if they're spent on payroll to encourage businesses to keep paying employees. A study from the Department of Health and Human Services finds hospitals are struggling to maintain essential supplies.
The department's inspector general surveyed more than 300 hospitals across the country, and in this report released today, it found severe shortages of testing supplies and extended waits for results at those hospitals, widespread shortages of PPE, that personal protection equipment, difficulty maintaining adequate staffing and hospital capacity, and shortages of critical supplies, including things as simple as thermometers, disinfectants, and even cleaning supplies.
Fox's Christian Fisher, a spokesperson for the Department of Health and Human Services, says Secretary Alex Azar addressed the issue by asking governors to allow healthcare workers to work across state lines. San Francisco's Golden State The Golden Gate Park turns 150 this Saturday, but the big party to celebrate it will take place online, at least for now. The city had planned a year-long celebration that included free museum admission, concerts, and other events, but the spread of the virus has forced them to postpone it. Instead, they launched an online concert series featuring musical sets performed in the park over the years. They include an appearance by Boz Scaggs in 2016 and Metallica's headlining performance at the Outside Lands Festival in 2017. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Half a day. This is Michelle from APL Guam. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam and on the U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit apl.com.
One of the easiest ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Let this message help you time it. Start soaping up now. If you're sick or caring for someone who is, wear a surgical mask or N95 respirator when you're around others. If you're not sick, wear a washable cloth face covering in case you're an asymptomatic carrier. Don't touch the front of the mask and always remove it from the back. When you cough or sneeze, use a tissue or your upper sleeve, not your hands. Choice Broadcasting reminds you to stay safe and stay clean. You can rinse now.
If you've ever struggled for breath, you know what a scary experience it is. Whether you have asthma, emphysema, COPD, lung cancer, or another respiratory illness, the right medical treatment makes all the difference. GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic has the latest technology and respiratory equipment, staffed by world-class pulmonologists. Make an appointment today with GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic and start breathing easier. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Wait, I'm doing something here. It's related to work, so I'm allowed to do it. No, not now. Just hold on. I wanted to click on something here so I could show you what one of the big deals is over at Chili's. Because that's what they want me to do is at this time in the program is to talk about Chili's for a second. 20% curbside discount on all curbside and pickup orders. Now, what is it that they've got? What is that a picture of there, Real Joe? What does that look like?
That looks like fajitas.
It's in a bowl. I see grilled vegetables. I see chicken. I see some kind of lemon limey thing in there as well. Okay, that looks good. There's another one. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Platter combos. You ever look at these platters and go, that's a challenge, and I accept. I absolutely. Now, apparently the idea is you're supposed to share this with other people, but I know I could put a serious dent in this. Barbecue chicken and ribs, right? That's 3 chicken legs, fajita rice, full rack of ribs, 4 Coca-Cola beverages for $30. $20, Cajun chicken pasta, garlic bread, and some more Cokes. And then this one here, barbecue chicken and jalapeno sausage. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, jalapeno sausage. Just let that play in your head for a second. Jalapeno sausage.
And you can keep the pan and use it for generations to come. I still have one in my family for years.
Do you fajita rice, corn salsa, and then you got the sodas. 648-7377. Place your order. By the time you get from where your house is over to Chili's, it'll be all ready to go for you. Now, that's if you're looking for platters and things like that. Again, one of my favorite things over at Chili's was the gizmo, was the mushroom and Swiss burger. That was also very, very good and very, very, picnic on the beach with a cold beer worthy, I must say. It's 9:08 in the morning. Portions of the program also brought to you by Orkin. Visit them at orkin.com, 646-7546. Local pest control expertise and global coverage.
Real Talk Radio is back. Welcome to The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
That's it. You tell them. You tell them. Real Talk Radio. I can't take the pressure, which is why I fall back on this guy constantly.
Stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
I'm sorry, it's hilarious. It's like this is the look. I know this what you come here. This is really why you show up here every morning, because you just know there's going to be something irascible and irreverent that's going to get out there. I'll give you the news and the information. That's never been the problem. You want to get into the meat of some of these topics, some of these subjects. I'm right there with you. But in between all of that stuff, there's got to be a reason to laugh. There's got to be a reason to bring something out and put it up on the screen that will put a smile on your face. As we make it together, we are making it through this coronavirus deal. Those of you with children will understand.
Have you ever had a dream that you could
That's brilliant. It's brilliant, and there's not one of you that doesn't have this similar kid story. And unfortunately, it doesn't have to be, just little toddlers like that. I think there's full-blown grown-ups that have problems and issues getting it out of their system just like that. Where are we now? 10 after 9 o'clock in the morning. It's Tuesday for those of you that have lost track, and it's okay. It's all right. I was joking around with a meme that I saw on the internet. Somebody said the only way I can keep track of my days is with my my pills, right? Yeah, my birth control pills. Because there's a little calendar thing. A lot of you don't realize that. It comes with this little press the button here, press the button there, press the button there, and then a little pill comes out, and it got different colors and stuff like that. And I originally thought that was like a rosary. I thought it was one of those things. It's like the white ones are our fathers. No, the white ones, white ones are Hail Marys, and then the blue ones would be the our fathers, right? And the glory be. Shut up, Ray. That's not funny. Yeah, it is. 9/11 in the morning. So there's that. There are a few other things that are playing around in my head conceptually as we make our way into Tuesday. And I again say so for those of you that have lost track of time. See, and I lost track of the bit. That's I started it, and then now I got to go back to it. And so the thing about this is because there is this irregularity in our schedules now, and we have not yet. I thought by now I'd be there. I thought by now we would be in this place where the casual rhythm of my life from before would take on a casual rhythm of life now. And it hasn't. I haven't quite gotten there yet. I mean, I come to work every morning, and then I'll go home and do some more work. At least that's what I'm telling everybody. I do some more work on the couch, some distance work. And then, fix a sandwich or a soup and then take a nap for a little bit. And I'm blowing up here as the kids. I must be really popular because my phone is blowing up like crazy. So where was I? Oh, this is good. I get the right there at the top, and I'm not going to tell you who it's from, but the caption is NSFW exclamation point times 4. NSFW. You know what that means, right? Not safe for work. I appreciate the warning. Everything on WhatsApp should come with some kind of a warning. Anyway, 9:12. So, but the routine has not settled into something yet. I wake up and then I kind of stare at the living room, going, okay, what am I going to do between now and sunset? Because that's the only thing. That's the only thing is I'll either sunset hunt or I'll go and run on the road. Both of them will end in beer. So that's that, and I get home at a reasonable amount of time, and then stare at the Netflix menu forever.
Trying to choose something. There's so much there,
right? You ever look okay and continue watching? There's the one. That's the avenue of broken dreams right there. There's all of these shows where you go, man, that looked promising, and you just go, but it's going to end in disappointment. There's on my continue watching for Ray is The Road to Perdition. We were talking about Tom Hanks movies, right? And so I found a Tom Hanks movie, Road to Perdition, and I must be, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes into it, and it still hasn't started yet. The movies, it still hasn't started for me yet, so I'm going, when does this begin? See, and I just logged in now. What am I being greeted with?
There you go.
This is apparently mandatory. This is apparent. The governor is going to declare mandatory. Everybody has to watch Tiger King.
Join us, Ray. It's lonely down here in Rock Bottom.
I'm not this. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm watching Tiger King, that means I've hit rock bottom. In my goals and my aspirations for entertainment. So top picks is Tiger King, Ozark, Minority Report with Tom Cruise, The Core, C-O-R-E, Bloodfather with Mel Gibson. But doesn't that look like every other somebody's messing with my daughter movie that's ever been made?
Yeah. Yes.
There's Hangover, Social Network, Money Heist, Sunrise in Heaven. Ooh, Deep Impact. Okay, that's worth watching.
Yeah.
Deep Impact is. I mean, if you're gonna have to get started on some kind of apocalyptic movie, that's the one to watch. Robert Duvall's in it. Téa Leoni is in it. Elijah Wood is in it.
Who was the president? What's his
the
name?
guy's always the president. The guy.
He was on Sesame Street. Wasn't he?
So I'm trying to figure out why he's not actually Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. Yeah. He got his start on Sesame Street.
Put Elijah Wood in front of Morgan Freeman. Put Téa Leoni in front of Morgan Freeman. But anyway, yeah, so he's president of the United States while we've got space critters coming at us. And that movie is worth watching. The other one is Armageddon.
Yeah,
obviously,
it was
so
good.
those are good. See, now this might be that might be a good reason to go. I might go now. But Road to Perdition is on the list of movies that I haven't finished yet. It says Dear John is in there. And I remember watching Dear John in the theater and wanting my money back halfway through the show. So, but you've got those things. So that is the nighttime routine. Is just staring at the menu on Netflix, trying to find something that's worth watching, like Deep Impact. God, it's there now. I feel like I have something to live for.
Have you seen any of those old last year, 2-3 years ago, where they were talking about coronavirus? Some of these old Asian shows.
No, they have that?
Yeah, it's going around.
Huh.
You know, where they were talking about it.
I've managed to miss some of those things. I haven't read any of the books that mentioned. Somebody said there was a book out that talks about a virus coming out of China and then all of this other stuff. And well, it's interesting. But I'm too lazy to go pick that up. So we'll get into the rhythm eventually when we are allowed to get into the rhythm. And this is where I get into the conversation, and it feels like politics because we're just not there yet. We're not there yet. So this morning. Where in my mind, I would have touted the fact that despite all of the claims that we were going to be going into surge and there was going to be skyrocketing numbers of victims, we wake up this morning and there's only one new case. We've only got one new case of coronavirus on Guam. There was a big number yesterday, and maybe was that the surge? Was that the skyrocketing that we were looking at? Was the one expected today? And then I get this feeling like, now here comes the scare tactics. The scare tactics. Well, we only got one new case, but there's 6 kids that have come down with coronavirus. So mark my words, as there are going to be the updates and the more stories, they're going to be talking about. Now, make sure. What was it yesterday? Envision your nana. Think about before you get in the car, before you decide you're going to go gallivanting, think about Nana, right? So now it's going to be think about the little kids. Before you go out there and gallivant, just remember that you could be carrying the coronavirus and you could be infecting the childrens. It's going to happen. So now, and I'm not going to say it's not really happening. It is front page of the newspaper, 6 of them here. I just worry, as we all should, that that's going to be this week's new scare tactic. To get it to wrestle us into control. This is how they're going to do it. We're going to scare you to death that you're going to infect every little child here on Guam that can't otherwise defend themselves. That's what I'm worried about. And there's going to be a whole another round of people that are going to be breathless about every little thing with this coronavirus. And so I'd like us, and we're going to be stuck like this until the 5th of May. Can we decide that this is as harsh as things are going to get? We are as locked down as we are going to get. There won't be anything more. There won't be anything less. It's not like we're going to start getting things back anytime soon. If we're just going to do status quo, and don't need to hear every day from everybody. Don't need to hear everybody getting all breathless and shrill about instructions. This is as deep into this as we're going to get. And then on the 5th, we'll take a look at how many people, have recovered, how many more people have gotten sick, the nature of some of the relief that's come in. Maybe the money will be in by then. Maybe the ventilators will be in by then. Maybe the more doctors and tools will be in by then. And maybe they can look at it and say, well, it ain't perfect, but yeah, on the 5th, maybe we can ease up a lot on the quarantining. But I just don't get that sense because of what we talked about yesterday, the shifting sands. And now that there's kids involved, imagine that there are going to be people that will use that as an excuse to create more shifting of the sands that we've got around here. And so that's among the things that I'm worried about. 888-8255-888-TALK as I'm playing around. Online, who's playing around with me? Dave Angel, one of the finest broadcast voices in the history of Guam broadcasting, is watching online and Facebook Live right now. That's cool. My buddy Chris Biacchino going, yep. And I don't know what he's yapping about, but I'm glad that between me and everybody else on the Facebook Live, he's found something to agree on. Rico Blancaflor, Ancient Aliens 2, more believable than CNN and MSNBC. Boy, have those networks not let us down. I generally stay away from the planet that is Twitter, because I find that Twitter is, man, that's just a suck of life. Right?
Yep.
You get into Twitter if you want to see the absolute worst of people. It all feels like the Kardashians, right? When I'm on Twitter. And the only reason why is every once in a while, you've got to scroll through about a dozen things that will remind you about the depths that some people will go to make their points. But every once in a while, you find something groovy, and so I look for those moments of grooviness on Twitter. But I'm on Twitter. Yes, I can't remember which one of the Trump-hating newspapers it was.
Washington Post.
Post. Thanks. And they come out with a story about how Trump is the worst president ever. Like, this screams the headline. It's not even an opinion. It's just Trump is the worst president ever. And I'm going, really? At this time, while everybody else is concentrating on sheer survival, they're coming out with Trump politics. And I'm going, get out of here. And it wasn't just the politics. And you're going to go, Ray, you're just a Trump guy. That's going to trigger you every time. That's why they put it there. Nah, that doesn't trigger me. What I always, but besides, my standard response on things like that on them and CNN and MSNBC is always write back and go, hey, you guys wonder what the real journalists are working on today, as opposed to the crap that you guys are so-called publishing. So I always put that one in there. Hey. And Selena Gomez have a conversation and discover they're both something. I don't know. They're bipolar or something like that. Oh. And I'm sitting here thinking, again, here we are at a time in our place in our history, unprecedented pressure on the entire planet, on civilization as a whole. And there's somebody that thought that it was important to find out that Selena Gomez and Miley Cyrus were both bipolar. Well, how about that? Well, my day is complete. My day is complete. I just, I'm not going to worry about feeding the kids anymore. I'm not going to worry about whether I got to stand in some kind of line in order to go in and buy an onion. But I feel better now knowing that they're able to work through it. And now that they've discovered that each other shares the same kind of malady, they can find some kind of healing, some kind of, catharsis. So it's one of those things. It's a smart move would be to try to stay away from the social media as much as you possibly can. And as Jerry Roberts said this morning in the Extra Point, get out there and find some sunshine. Just find some sunshine. Any other time, think about this now. It's the way our lives have changed, and our perspective, I think, changes. Any other time, you look outside from the comfort of the couch, the aircon going, got some cool music playing on your Bose speakers. Maybe you've got something playing on your 46-inch big screen. Yeah, your small 46-inch screen, right? Big 75-inch, that one's in the bedroom. But you look out at the outside and you go, looks hot. Stay over here. Looks hot, and you pull the blanket up over you on the couch because the air conditioning is so good. I'm totally telling you my story, and presuming that maybe you've got something similar. But any more these days, I don't want to be on the couch. I am tired of the couch now. I want to get out, and so I will go outside if for no other reason. And this is one of those times. It sounds blasphemous. I wished I smoked. I wish I'd smoke.
You got something to do?
Yes, I got something to do. What are you doing? I'm going to have a cigarette. I'm going to go outside and smoke. I'm going to look at the cars pass by and smoke my cigarette. But I don't smoke anymore, right? Drink a lot of beer, so I'll just sit out on the balcony, sit on the front porch and have a beer and watch the cars go by. I might go and get a pack of Newports or something.
Are you that guy that says slow down when people fly by your house?
No, I want them to go slow so I can have to bother them. Are you going slow in front of my house? Hey, is that your chick? You always got to ask that. 9:25 in the morning. So there we are. The other items in the table of contents, I suppose I had to pour over this. I went through all the trouble of writing it. So what do we got? 4,600 test kits are coming in, according to one of the stories I read in today's Guam Daily Post. And that's a good thing. I will mark that down as a good thing because it means that more people will be tested and they will be going outside of the bounds, the confines of just the target cases. And you heard Dr. Vince Akimoto. We had him on the air yesterday talking about they want you. If you've got some symptoms, come on by. We got some tests that we can give you, and we'll send them off to the States and see what's actually going on. Okay, good plan. Nice. Let's see what happens. Although I have seen the test, parts of the test, and it's kind of scary. Have you seen how that the test is administered? They get a Q-tip.
It's long.
That's a foot long, and stick it in the back it goes through the nostril, and it goes and finds the very back part of your head.
Your thoughts. Goes and touches your thoughts.
And I'm going, I don't know that I could handle something like that. I don't know if I could handle exactly that kind of thing. Pushing
Bob
into
did
the
it.
back of. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Bob can
Bob's
do
a
it.
Marine.
We can do it.
But Bob's a Marine.
That's true.
Whatever reflex that you have,
you're right.
They took it out of him in boot camp.
Yeah.
I can see Bob going, okay, do the other nostril. I got two, just for completeness.
Is that it?
That's all you got. Are we done? So there we. Thank you very much, Pam. I checked my messages. When I take a break, I'll see what's in there. Smug says, be prepared. Jim Bonato says, really radar check in front of the Boy Scouts building. Priorities. Well, at least it's not a checkpoint yet. Is the thing. Smug says, if I'm going to live out the prequel to Mad Max, I'm glad it's on Guam with you guys. Yeah, let's riff on that for just a second, can we? No, we did this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm totally serious. And Real Joe coined the phrase pandemic potluck. Which is one of the most brilliant things, and it's absolutely true. I feel exactly the same way, Smug. Here's the thing: is if we're going to have to go through this nonsense, and it's clear that we do. I'm glad that I'm doing it with you, and I'm not just me, Real Joe or Jerry Robertson Mana. Yes, for sure, them. But I'm glad that everybody else is here. We're all of us this little community. It's not little; it's huge in any standard that you want to apply here. But it is a huge community of all of us now on the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live. Even the people I can't see, I know you're there, and I'm glad that you're there because we're all sharing this experience. And the back and forth between you guys and the back and forth between all of us, I don't know how I could live without. I don't know how I could do any other kind of radio without the kind of interaction that we've got here. And it pains me that we can't see each other the same way. You remember when we did that eclipse thing, right? That eclipse thing was wild. That
Sheridan,
yeah, because it's like all these people that I knew from here showed up, and none of them were shy about coming on and saying, "I listen to you every day, and you say my name, and you say my name every." And I just thought that was such a great community event, and I want to do more of those kinds of things. Unfortunately, the governor won't let us. So that's all there is from that. At any rate, what's this? I'm getting this word here. about First Hawaiian Bank. They are open now, and today being Tuesday, that's right, today is Tuesday, right? They will be open until 4. On Friday, 9 to 6, and on Saturdays from 9 until 1. And somebody asking, do they have kapuna hours? Kapuna hours.
I don't know.
Okay, close your microphone. Go next door, ask Albert, because it was Albert that was asking the question, what is a kapuna? And the answer is yes, it is from 9 to 10, but manumkos are allowed any other time, and they also have a special teller windows for them, whether that's the adults or the kapuna. What did he say a kapuna was?
Old people.
Old people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Manumkos are allowed anytime, but I guess specifically that's the time for those guys. All right. So all of the banks trying to make it as easy as possible. And if you don't already have an online app for your bank, get one. Because it makes your life so much easier. I use mine once a day at least to check on the where my transactions are and what my bank balances are. Because otherwise I'm just going to keep going back and forth between this store and that store and buying my necessities. And what has become my necessity? It's hard for me to explain this. Without sounding like a raging alcoholic, but every day I buy a 12-pack, whether I need it or not. Right? I'm stockpiling it.
That's good
because I want to be ready.
Yeah,
I want to be ready for because you never know what's going to happen and which tin pot dictator is going to decide that there's another aspect of Ray Gibson's life that they feel like they have to control. Just because my mom's dead doesn't mean you can have the job. 9:31. This is a good show. So this is how I gauge the success or failure of a show. Number one, did I make it to 10 o'clock? Did I still have junk to talk about at 10 o'clock in the morning? Number one. And number two, did I make Real Joe laugh so hard that he almost had to pee himself? And I think I'm getting close. I've still got another half hour. Well, let's see what I can work out. 9:32 is iConnect time. iConnect, where they're waiting on you online at iConnectGuam.com. If you got questions ask them about Push to Talk and how you might be able to roll out Push to Talk with all of your employees who aren't in the same place anymore. So check on that the next time you're at iConnectGuam.com.
Guam is home to strong and resolved people. As an island, we regularly deal with the destructive forces of nature together. We at Security Title know that when the storm passes, our families and neighbors will join together to clear the debris, to barbecue whatever is thawing in our freezers, and get back to the business of wholeheartedly living our lives. As our island struggles with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, let us remember that this too shall pass.
Phantom comic strip.
What is that?
What?
Phantom comic strip.
You don't know the Phantom?
Okay, yes. The
goes
Phantom.
2 walks. Goes
Yes.
2 walks. That used to be my favorite thing on a Sunday. And they used to have really good Phantom comic books when I was growing up. So I don't know. I'm just saying, if you're looking for something else to do, just if you've hit the end of the internet and just have no idea, just a random thought. Go and see if you can dig out someplace that will let you make it through Phantom comic strips from a long time ago. There are some places on the World Wide Web that'll let you do it. While I'm thinking about it, another completely unrelated yet random thought as it's cruising through my head is there are some great websites that were put together years ago by guys that have done some significant amounts of research that will tell you all about prisoners of war from different places, including prisoners of war from Guam. You go back to the early part of the Japanese occupation, and there were a whole bunch of old white guys. And my great-grandfather among them. Well,
Mine
the
too.
Japanese, the Japanese didn't want to kill him, right? The Japanese didn't want to kill him, so they put him on a ship called the Argentina Maru and sent them to Japan. And there's a whole bunch of them that came back. Again, my great-grandfather included.
He's
And
probably in that photo with my great-grandfather where they had a whole line of them.
yes,
just standing
my
there.
great-grandfather's down around the bottom. He's got a long beard, long white beard. He grew that because nothing else to do. That was kind of a quarantine that those guys were in, but actual prisoners of war. But there's a couple of great websites where they've gotten a lot of information about the guys that were sent, what they did while they were there. and what happened to him on the way back. Some interesting pieces of history out there that most people don't remember. Was how the war years treated the people that were sent from here and places like here to Kobe, Japan, among them. I'd actually tried, when I was in Kobe once, I'd actually tried to go and find the place where the prisoner of war camp was.
You did? Did you find it?
No, absolutely no record exists.
Wow.
And you got to remember, there was a big earthquake in Kobe a few years ago, so the whole place is new. It's like looks like parts of Portland, Oregon. Looks like they just put it up yesterday. It's just nice. Anyway, 9:50, and the beef is good. Just FYI. Kobe beef? Yeah, it's all right.
Never tried.
It's pretty good.
I'm waiting for that stimulus
that
check.
Wagyu, it tastes okay. It tastes okay. It'll make a good burger. 9:35 in the morning. So where was I? Oh, I was supposed to tell you about, speaking of burgers, go to Wendy's. Yeah, that would be about the thing. Let's take a Wendy's. And we'll use everything else except we'll put some Kobe beef in there. Can you imagine what that would be like? A Kobe beef burger made Wendy's style. The Applewood smoked bacon on that. Yeah, I'm just riffing on this. Listen, it might be a couple of days before they get the shipment of Kobe beef over at Wendy's, but the stuff they've got now is pretty good. Have that with maybe you can still scrounge up some breakfast there with their fried rice. Not just any ordinary fried rice. It's bacon fried rice. You're gonna love the price. You're gonna love the availability. Just hit the drive-thru today over at Wendy's. The program's also brought to you by American President Lines, global presence with a local home. Vice President Pence. I'm just going to leave that out there because I got a couple of gay friends. Every time I mention Vice President Pence, they're triggered for the rest of the day. Vice President Pence at task force, says Brian Ortega, just announced 50 ventilators being sent to Guam/CNMI from California. Told you the cavalry's on the way. See, that's the thing, right? Everybody's all freaked out about, oh, my God, we looked at the models. Thousands will die. It'll be the worst month since the Second World War. I actually think I heard that in one of the briefings. Because we don't have the beds. We don't have the ventilators. We're getting ventilators. I understand we're supposed to be lined up for, what is it? It was 4,600 test kits and 30 ventilators that are going to be coming in. And hopefully these are the ones that Dan Bradley wanted tested to make sure that when we unbox them here, now that would be good. We'll do the unboxing of the MRE, and then we'll do an unboxing of a ventilator.
Wow, yeah.
Because, I mean, we say it all the time, but I have no idea what they really look like. What does a ventilator look like? Somebody on Facebook, do me a favor, hit me up on the WhatsApp. Go and find an image of a ventilator that we might be able to find in a modern hospital and see what happens. 988-5874. So I got ventilators on the way. Are they coming directly to Guam Memorial Hospital? Is the question. Are they going to split the shipment up in thirds? 10 go to GRMC, 10 go to Guam Memorial, 10 go to Navy, or what's the deal on that? I'll see what we can find out as those devices get closer and closer to Guam. But thanks, B. I appreciate you sending that in, Chief. Who else is there? Sabine Chargaloff. My God, I'm sitting at work with you in my ear, making me crack up. The looks I'm getting make me laugh even more. I'm so glad. JB says radar telling Pago Route 4. I guess social distancing is off today. If the cops are the cops wearing gloves? When they hand you the ticket for speeding, when you hand them your driver's license, proof of insurance and registration, are they gloved hands? Are they wearing masks as they're doing all of this stuff? I don't know. So I did get yesterday. Everybody sent me copies of this stuff, so I know it went far and wide. But there are those pictures, and as it turns out, a lot of those people are associated with the government of Guam. There was a funeral that took place, and as part of, I suppose, and would have been the same in my family, right? When my grandmother died, all of us had a deck of cards, and we stuck it in the crypt with her because she loved to play cards with her friends. So we wanted to make sure when she got to heaven that they had cards. And I'm sure maybe in this case, the person that passed away was a big card enthusiast, so they had a poker thing going on, or blackjack, or whatever it was. I don't know what game they were playing, and the image goes wide, and everybody's going, well, this is part of the quarantine times, right? Isn't that so-and-so? Isn't that somebody that is the guard for the governor? Aren't those some of those other people? Aren't they also in the government of Guam? And so this is what makes people crazy. This is what will make people just lose their minds. When we start talking about all of the rules and the regulations, all of those shifting sand deals I've been telling you about for seemingly the last 3 weeks, and just when you get used to something, the governor calls everybody into a meeting over at the JIC, and they come up with new rules for us. But wait a second. There are people that those rules don't apply to, right? And the people, you look in that picture and you go, hey, those people should know better. They're not unwashed public like me. That's rank and file. Those are people, they work in the governors and in some cases they work with the governor. So how is it that they get to have a party and they're not wearing their coronavirus masks and they're, cheek and jowl? They're that close to each other. I have been looking for an opportunity in my 40 plus years as a broadcaster to say cheek and jowl. And I finally got it. I finally got it. You take a look at that picture, and they're all huddled up together. If one person there had coronavirus around that table of cards, then everybody might be exposed to it, right? Because I'm not calling out. I cannot silently call out a bet. I guarantee that as the words are coming out of my mouth, there are little micro droplets of my saliva, my thotla, that is out there floating around and might be floating around for a long time, they say. And so if somebody has got the coronavirus that's standing around that table, now everybody might have coronavirus. Will we find out who they are? No, we won't. Hold on a second, because there's a story that is in one of the newspapers, and they asked the question about what's going to happen, and the answer, I think, was, well, it's a personnel matter. They fall right back on, I think it was Janella that they asked.
Yeah, it was
and
her.
They said, oh, yeah, I'd love to tell you more, but it's a personnel matter, which means we don't have to tell you jack, even though you get somebody like Bob Klitsky, who has on multiple occasions thrown the curtain out so you can actually see what is and what is not considered personnel actions that need to be taken from these guys. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to find it. I'm looking for it. I could have swore that I highlighted that as I was reading through some of the stories today. One of the other interesting stories that's out there. What's going to happen? Nothing is going to happen, smug. That's what's going to happen. There's nothing that's going to happen. It will get buried, and we'll never hear about it again. But that's the thing that ticks people off. That's the thing that makes people crazy is just knowing, and we've seen it countless times before, just knowing that there are two sets of rules, one for you and one for the insiders. If you're not in the insiders, if you're not in that gang, then you get nothing. And if you get in trouble, don't worry. We will look the other way. There was a once upon a time, I'm fond of talking about disasters because I've been through so many. And we're not just talking about my personal life, but the number of disasters. I remember a typhoon that we had years and years ago. Golly, it's got to be 18 years now, 19. But it was so bad, the gas containers down at the port caught fire. And
Is that Omar?
No.
Pongsongwa. No.
Chatan Pongsong was, I don't know. It was before. Was a long time ago, boy. But there was a typhoon, and it made the fire down over at the port. And when they put it out, they said, well, that's it for gas on Guam. Whatever is in the tank in the car, whatever is in the tank underneath the gas stations, that's all we have. Now, it didn't take very long, because this is Gutierrez boys, right? It didn't take very long for Carl to come up with a pretty accurate number on exactly how many gallons of gas there were on Guam. And figuring out, okay, and diesel, right? And so how much do we need to keep the police department running? How much do we need to keep the fire department running and the ambulances running? What's going to be required for truly critical need here on Guam? And they sorted it out. And there were lists. Good morning, Janice. Nice to see your pretty face there. There were lists of who could and who could not get gas. And chief of police, governor of Guam, chief of the fire department. We got maybe a chief justice in there. And so it was, you could see it. I mean, just the pillars that were required to keep the island going. And no sooner do they come out with that list of priority individuals, priority missions, then you start hearing about guys who were on that list that would fill up their car and then go and get the wife's car and then fill that one up. And then go and get, and my party and my mully. I got to go. So just give me the car. Give me the keys, and I'll put some gas in the car because they don't know. I just go to a different gas station, just show the same placard. And we started hearing stories about that, and the island that was hearing about that lost their collective minds. And it would have been a bigger deal, except we didn't have the internet then. There's that because there's no Facebook. There was no WhatsApp, and there was no Candid News at the time. To breed that kind of anger, but it was definitely there. And that's the thing. That's the thing that will tick you off, is you'll hear about all of the quarantining that you got to do, all of the suffering and the sacrifice that you got to do, and then you'll read about a party that was frequented by people who should know better because they're closer to it. Who is there? Tina Awesome in Mad Max. Okay, I can tell we're getting near the end of the show here. Pam said, as in Tina Turner was awesome in Mad Max. Yeah, Master Blaster. Where's Master Blaster? That was such a. There's not one wasted scene in any of those movies. I got to tell you, they're all that good. As I said, Janice is online. Who was that? Outlaws Are Wanted, says Pam. Yuka Echanova is on. One of my favorite teachers, and I want to say that they're trying to find ways to get her and others back into something that feels like a classroom. But now that the Department of Education is all done, Ronnie, what are you going to do with your extended summer? For some people, they were thinking this is just going to be a long spring break. Well, guess what, Ronnie? John Fernandez has decided that it's okay. We're closing down the school year. How's that going to affect the teachers if they're not? Are they still going to be able to get paid? Because there's no more school year for DOE. Are they still going to be holding on to the teachers and the 9-month staff? Huh, Ronnie. Beat me on the messenger. Tell me what they're telling you. Xavier at the league is there. Joe Cepeda. Good morning to Tello T. Taitigui. That's Senator Tello Taitigui, who's online here this morning, wanting to see if I've started any trouble. I don't know. It's not like trouble will find me. I'm not trying to start anything as much as I'm just trying to tell people how it's a weird, ridiculous time that we find ourselves living in. And like I said, everybody make your decisions, do whatever it is that you're going to do, and then leave us alone for the next 29 days and let us live our new normal. The curve is not going to get any more flat than it is right now. And I think that's all there is to it. What have I got here? I have not had a chance to talk about a magistrate report in some time, although I would like to point out what I would consider to be this is a ride or die chick. Are you familiar with the concept of ride or die? If you're not, I feel sorry for you. I feel bad. I think everybody ought to have a ride or die in their life. If you've got one, good for you. If you don't, that's what you should aspire to. Your ride or die is somebody you get in trouble, like the policeman's pulling you over because you're drinking beer at the beach, and the governor said no. Ride or die is the chick will try to beat up the cop.
Yeah.
On or about March 5th, 1:08 p.m., a GPD officer responded to a robbery complaint in Zotnia. Once on the scene, the officer interviewed Jess Toves, the victim. Jesse reported that he had contacted GPD because he was robbed by two individuals, a male and a female. Jess reported that he had been driving his Toyota 4Runner along Artemio Cruz Street when he encountered Pangolinan and John Doe stopping his vehicle on the street. This is the way you do that. You send the pretty girl out to stop the car, right? See, this is totally Mad Max. After he stopped, John Doe approached the driver's side door and shouted curses at Jesse and telling him to get out and fight. John Doe then punched the driver's door of Jesse's vehicle. Jess, good Chamorro boy, says, huh? Rolled down his car window in an attempt to de-escalate the situation, and John Doe punched Jesse through the window. Jesse then, you can see it now. That's it. Bust Dumby. I'm getting out. Look out. Here comes the buckle belt. Jesse reported that while he was fighting, he realized that Pangolinan, the girl, had entered his vehicle through the passenger door and was rummaging through his car. When the fight ended, Jess heard the passenger door of his vehicle close. The male and then female fled the area together. Jess followed the pair and was able to observe them get into a dark Honda Accord. The interviewing officer observed an injury to Jesse's face and the dent to the front driver's side door of his car, which was consistent with the vehicle being punched by Cizando. Jess listed the following items as having been taken: $30 in cash, personal papers and documents, and a used Figo Atrium phone, estimated value $150. Have to go to the gas station, buy a new phone. GPD located the vehicle, and it was searched. The stolen items were not found within the vehicle. Pangolina was located and interviewed. She claimed that she didn't know anything about the incidents, which were reported by Jesse. Jesse observed Pangolina and specifically identified her as being the female that burglarized his vehicle. So everybody's in trouble. So Misty Marie Pangolina has been busted with burglary to a motor vehicle and theft. But that, as I said, my friends, that's ride or die. So that's the deal. This is how we're going to play this game, is we're going to get the pretty girl out, and she's going to stop the car. Once the car stops, here comes hostile boyfriend. Hostile boyfriend starts getting into a scrap, and while you're scrapping, while you're defending yourself, you're going, or throwing down, Brown. Then she will go through the truck and steal stuff. And as soon as she's done, she says, hey, honey, let's go. And they scrammed. So I think that's an interesting way to do that stuff. But I am going to express my disappointment now in young Misty, because I'm presuming it's young Misty. Hold on a second. Does it say when she was born?
I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, right. 1992. So what, 28 or so?
Yeah.
Almost 30?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, almost 30-year-old woman. You really ought to have your life together. You really ought to, this should not be the kind of relationship that you go, this is what I'm all about. I want a woman that's going to support me too, right? But that's not quite what I'm thinking. I don't think that a woman, if we don't raise our daughters to go after guys like this, right? That's the man for me. That's the guy. We're gonna go on robbing trips together. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to be the honeypot. And he's going to get in a fight, and we're going to have enough money to buy Newports and vape juice. It's 9:52 in the morning. What's that, Ronnie? Can I read any of this stuff? Is quarantine and still working? Okay, so nothing about whether or not we're furloughing or laying off teachers because we've shut down the school year. All right, I'll see what I can find out. So time 9:52. Pam, while the commercial is playing, I'm going to run up and see what it is that you wrote to me on the Gizmo. Go. What? No, I'm just throwing to a break.
One of the easiest ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Let this message help you time it. Start soaping up now. The virus can survive in the air for 3 hours, on copper for 4 hours, on cardboard for 24 hours, and on plastic and stainless steel for 72 hours. Disinfect phones and common household surfaces like tables, doorknobs, light switches, countertops, toilets, faucets, and sinks, desks, including computer keyboards and kids' toys. Choice Broadcasting reminds you to stay safe and stay clean. You can rinse now. As a GovGuam designated urgent care center, FHP Urgent Care is here for your urgent medical needs. Go to FHP Urgent Care instead of going to the hospital during this COVID-19 pandemic. FHP Health Center operates Saturdays through Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and is closed on Fridays. FHP's Cancer Center, Adult Medicine, and Pediatrics Department are also open for limited services and availability. FHP Home Health Department is open to care for patients at their homes. Call 646-5825, extension 8174. FHP, our island, your clinic.
We care about accuracy, and we care about the words have meaning. And I referred to my great-grandfather as a prisoner of war. He was interned into the camp. He was not a prisoner of war, according to former Senator Bob Klitsky, who has fought in every war since the Revolutionary War.
This is true. He's the one that dropped the Civil War coins on the beach there and found.
For me to get, yeah. And just another invite, if you have not had enough of the sarcasm, of the quick wit, if you have not had enough of the irreverence that we're capable of from time to time, may I suggest, as the good friend that I am to you, that you go to Facebook, and there's a page there I want you to look up. Guam Sarcasm Page. Guam Sarcasm Page. This will have you smiling all day. This will have you. You'll be going. You know, it. And in fact, it is one of the first places. The Guam Sarcasm Page is one of the first places that I actually saw this guy here. When I
to jail.
This
You're
guy.
stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses. You right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
Right away. That's the meme that will carry me through the day. Every time I have one of those moments where I'm lost or confused or my soul is just dashed against the rocks of coronavirus, I will think of that, and I'll think about this one too.
That you could.
Sorry. It's required now. This is mandatory as part of our quarantine efforts. Where to? Last call of the day, I think. Jack, good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning. Hey, wasn't that student of the month there that was on the radio? And now she's in jail. So I guess you got all the bases covered there.
Right. No, but that's ride or die, isn't that, Jack? What we want, if I'm getting into a scrap here, I want, if you're not going to help me in the fight, at least go through the guy's stuff and see if there's anything in his truck you can steal.
Yeah, we're all in this together, like the government. But, yeah, before everything broke out, I was looking on YouTube. I was thinking of getting a camper, and so I was looking at the various YouTubers out there that are doing campers and camping and stuff like that, and all the world went to in a handbasket. But
what a great idea, though. Wait, hold on, flesh that out. So coronavirus, quarantining, but who says you have to stay home? What if your home moves? What if you're living in a camper and you decide, you know what, I want to go to the beach every day? I'll just go park my car over at the Hilton and just stay there.
Yeah, well, there's some stealth campers, like they rent those vans for $19 a day, and then they go hang out at the airport. They park at the $10 all day all night airport parking lot.
Yeah.
And so this is the dead of winter, man, and so there's various things. But anyways, the thing about this is that whether you're stateside or here in Guam, you're stuck in the same predicament, and it allowed me to touch base with a lot of my friends that I was in the Air Force with for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. And if there's a silver lining to this, it allowed us to touch base, talk to each other face to face, make promises that we never keep. Yeah, we're going to get a reunion. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but it's the whole idea that we can talk about it. So, I was in the midst of the Central Planning Committee for the Father Duenas class of 1980. Our job is to put together the gala. It's probably not going to happen now because, those things require some funds we got to raise just to have the thing. So I don't know what the heck is going to be happening with that. And, there were times, I'm going to admit it, where I'm going, God, it's Monday night. I got to get together with the guys. And now all I can think of is because, we've got this coronavirus. Now I'm wishing that every night was a Monday night so I could get together with the guys. My brother last night butt dialed on the WhatsApp in the family group. And all of a sudden, there's all four of us, in our different houses, in our different lives, all of a sudden on this WhatsApp chat. And for a second, there was like, wow, why don't we do this every day?
Yeah, and so there's no excuse now. And so people that I haven't seen for 25, 30 years are reconnecting. And, the tears are just coming. And, we're wishing everybody well. And we promise, we make a promise that we will meet before, when the stuff is all over. It's those kind of things that even in these hard times that I take comfort in. So You know,
That's you know what, Jack? That's a great place to leave the show. So I'm going to. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and thanks for the reminder. Somebody out there needs to hear from you today. My buddy Tom was swung by the radio station and brought me meals ready to eat. Are you ready for this? I've got a brisket entree, marinara sauce with meatballs. One of these is going to get opened and eaten tomorrow here on the program. The radio station, KUSG, had gotten you 93.3. For Jerry Roberts, Real Joe Cruz, and Montesilva Tyrant, this is Ray Gibson saying, what am I supposed to say? Oh, this is the point.
He was saddened to hear it. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's what President Trump said after learning British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been moved to intensive care after being diagnosed with COVID-19 10 days ago.
Best wishes to a very good friend of mine and a friend to our nation, Prime Minister Boris Johnson. We're very saddened to hear that he was taken into intensive care this afternoon, a little while ago.
Johnson is 55. His office says he is conscious. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab is set to take over if he becomes incapacitated. California Governor Gavin Newsom offering help to other cities in the form of ventilators.
500 ventilators from our cash will be sent to the national stockpile to be immediately distributed to states in need, particularly the state of New York.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo had said earlier today the state is using all its ventilators beyond their capacity. The governor of Wisconsin overruled by the state's highest court in his effort to postpone tomorrow's presidential primary.
Wisconsin's spring election will happen as originally planned Tuesday after the state Supreme Court blocked Democratic Governor Tony Evers' executive order to push back the vote by 2 months. He says out of fears of the coronavirus.
There's no shame in changing course to keep people safe and, quite frankly, to save lives.
Though this just days after the governor admitted in a tweet that he did not have the authority to stop the election, rather that it belonged to the Republican-controlled legislature and Evers, who up until the 11th hour pushed forward with a Tuesday vote. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is pledging an aggressive public health campaign aimed at people of color. The city's black residents account for 72% of deaths from the virus, despite making up only 30% of the city's population. America is listening to Fox News.
1 century ago, the world experienced its deadliest pandemic when the Spanish flu of 1918 infected nations around the world, killing millions. In the decades since, other influenzas have swept the world, taking the lives of millions more, but none have been quite like this.
The coronavirus now a global pandemic.
Broadway will be shut down. The NBA is suspending gameplay.
Wall Street briefly suspending trading today.
It has impacted Hollywood. It has impacted Capitol Hill. This is like no other.
Now, go inside the